All right, guys, we're back after a long hiatus, probably over a year since the last podcast. This time we got a nice big group. We're going to talk about everything from DC to Marvel, movies, and comics. It's Jake here with Durf. Go ahead. Everyone start introducing yourselves. Spawn?
What's going on?
Yeah, what up?
Yeah, I'm here.
What's up, people?
I am Iron Man.
And Pat.
What it is?
All right. So the first thing we're going to hit up is the Doctor Strange casting rumors, and I'm going to let Durf take this one away.
All right, so the first one we got were the casting rumors for the Ancient One. You had Ken Watanabe, Morgan Freeman,
Really?
and Bill Nighy, candidates for the Ancient One.
I'd have to roll with Kenny out of those three, for sure.
Oh hell yeah, that would be my.
I don't know. I think
choice.
Bill Nighy would be kind of cool.
I love Bill Nighy. I just, as the Ancient One, I just don't see it.
He's got to be Asian, right?
No, it's not about being Asian. I just, he's a great actor and I like what he's doing. I just don't think I just don't see it.
I got you. I think he's kind of transformative in his performances. I could see it. Morgan Freeman, I think, is kind of an odd choice.
Yeah, that's
out
just a name out there. I don't like that choice at all.
I mean, it's out there. He's capable of pulling it off. It's just, it's weird.
Yeah,
I mean, if he was doing some sort of narration for Black Panther, I could see that. No, I'm not even being dumb. I'm just saying, given the nature of the characters and the location,
He just doesn't fit as the Ancient One to me.
No, no.
Yeah.
No.
Exactly.
Right.
Spawn, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I was just saying that the Toby Stevens guy, I think, would be right for Mordo.
Baron Mordo?
Yeah, I think he'd be pretty good.
That's a huge casting. That's one of those make or break moments.
Yeah.
I love Mordo, man. Awesome character.
Is there any casting rumor for him?
No.
Not from what I've seen.
The only villain casting I've seen for Doctor Strange is that Daniel Bruhl guy.
Oh, from that Rush movie with Chris Hemsworth?
Yeah,
Yeah, but-
because he's cast in
Civil War. Yep.
Is he really?
Yep.
Yeah, he's playing a villain. They haven't said which one.
So like a Baron von Strucker lackey?
And rumor has it that he's going to play a big role in Doctor Strange.
I'm not too well versed in the Doctor Strange world, but
What about the guy from 12 Years a Slave? Who is
Chiwetel
Ejiofor?
Ejiofor?
or something like that?
yeah, I can never pronounce that guy's name. Yeah.
That guy's name's a fucking mindfuck. That sounds right.
Why don't we just refer to him as the dude with the long, weird name from 12 Years a Slave?
I'm just gonna call him Chewy. Is everyone cool with just Chewy?
You always
Yeah.
They're talking about him being a main character, and the only main character I could ever see him being that would seem to fit is Brother Voodoo, but it just seems like it's too soon to bring him on.
Oh yeah, see, I do remember this now. I was thinking that you could introduce Brother Voodoo just because instead of just introducing Doctor Strange as like the only mystic in all of the Marvel universe, maybe there's like a quote unquote brotherhood of them, or there's a close knit group where you can introduce other people too, not just Doctor Strange, because he probably isn't going to be the Sorcerer Supreme right away off the bat,
No, but I think this door is gonna open. This movie opens the door to the mystical, supernatural element, the way Guardians opened the door for the cosmic universe. Basically giving you some, but not everything. It's just like, well, this is what this is, and then you'll find out it gets bigger.
Right, and just the way Guardians introduced the cosmic things, like you have the Collector, you have Ronan, you have the Kree, you have Thanos. Maybe Doctor Strange movie will be kind of a venue to introduce a lot of the mystics that exist in the world. So,
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Joe, because I remember at the Slate announcement, Feige said that this was going to be their big opening to the mystic world with parallel dimensions and string theory and all that kind of stuff.
that'd be awesome.
So that's a good point to bring up.
I would like to see Damien Hellstrom then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be
Yeah, I
badass.
agree. Hellstrom's legit.
I
Yeah,
love
I know
Who else do you have in the Marvel universe that's in a mystical circle?
Who else do
You
you
know who I
have?
just kind of thought of that I never thought of before for
So-
Chewie?
Chewie.
The original one was going to play a villain, but people kind of said not. But what if he voices Dormammu.
I was thinking the same thing, dude. I was thinking Dormammu.
You know
that
what?
the
That's
voice?
it's such a subject because a lot of people I've talked to are like, no, they can't do Dormammu right now. Like it's something later on. I would love to see him earlier on too, but I would really like to see more of the focus be on Mordo. If that's
I think
in
you could
fact,
do Dormammu as like a Thanos, just show him
Exactly.
and everybody's just wowed by him.
Yeah.
And you know later on he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. But yeah, Mordo at first.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's pulling the strings, kind of like Dormammu's the quote unquote dark side, pulling Mordo away from the Ancient One. What I want to see is something very similar to the Doctor Strange animated movie. I really liked Mordo and Strange in that movie.
well, that the animated movie from a couple years ago was well done.
It was.
Yeah.
Well
Yeah,
done.
I thought that was pretty good. They did that. That was one of the few Marvel animated movies I'd say is really good.
Yeah, the rest were pretty much shit. Anyone else want to say anything?
I
on
mean,
the-
all we have right now is a confirmation is Cumberbatch. So I mean,
That's it.
no
No
realistically,
Wong or anything like that.
and we know the script is definitely finished, and Derrickson is the director. So that's all we know
what
right
else
now.
has Derrickson directed? Just for me and maybe whoever else is listening.
Derrickson did, I think they said Sinister.
Yeah, he did do Sinister. He's done a lot of horror movies.
What was
That
the
was
movie he
definitely-
did? Wait, was Sinister the one he did with Ethan Hawke?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, was that? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna look this up.
Yeah, I gotta look it up
That's a
too.
good
But
movie.
I think whatever director they get should inform the kind of tone we should expect. You know.
Well, it's
Uh,
Derrickson. He's signed on. He's directing the movie.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, you know, knowing what kind of things he's done in the past is probably what Marvel's similar
Let's
to.
see.
He's done the
He's
Exorcism
done-
of Emily Rose, Deliver Us from Evil, The Day the Earth Stood Still. Okay, so he's done a lot of those types of movies. Okay.
I mean, Feige described the movie as like, basically like an acid trip mindfuck, which is pretty
That's what it needs
fucking
to be.
awesome. Um,
Has to leave you just.
I would. Also, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's weird. I mean, is it going to be flashbacky to where, like, you know, you see him as Doctor Strange, or do you see him already on his journey, or do you guys think it starts off with him being the arrogant surgeon?
I'm kind of hoping
think-
it's the arrogant surgean thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
Then they
progression.
should say that the movie is not going to be an origin story. Like it's just going to start with him being already
Here's
Doctor
a-
Strange.
Here's my real question: where do you think this fits into the MCU timeline? Is this fit into? I mean, is this before Iron Man 1? Is this before Avengers 1? Is it after Avengers 1? I mean, where do you guys think they're going to try and fit this movie in the timeline?
I would say it would either be one of two time periods, either pre-Age of Ultron or right after Age of Ultron. You know, like either shortly before or maybe right after. You know, like we don't even know right now like where Ant-Man's fitting in this timeline either.
Yeah, but I mean, the fact that he gets a name drop in Captain America 2 makes you wonder a little bit, I guess,
Alright,
as to where.
so at least we know that during the events of the Winter Soldier, he's known as just Stephen Strange.
That's as much as we get, but he's someone to look out for. So why
So
is that?
if Hydra was watching him, why would they be watching him as just a surgeon? Maybe he
They're
would have
not.
have done something.
Yeah, he has to have experienced something. Either has the Eye of Agamotto already, or he's already been and done some training with the Ancient One. They're keeping an eye on it. They're not just naming some random skilled surgeon for nothing. I mean, he's got power already.
Yeah, so maybe we aren't
Yeah.
getting an origin story. I don't know.
Well, see, the other way they could do it is they could almost Batman Begins it too.
Oh yeah, you're right.
That's what I meant.
Well,
That's what I
that-
meant by flashbacking, like in that
Right.
style.
So
Like
the movie takes
main
over.
story takes place present time, but they have flashbacks to the origin.
Yeah, so the entire movie takes place over a course of 10 years or something. Yeah,
Yeah, I could see that being the case.
same here.
I mean, as far as an actor, Cumberbatch is top notch. Like he's gonna deliver. Like I really want to see like just him getting stripped down, like being the famous surgeon, like having the accident, like his hands are taken away, like how he deals with that. While he's on his journey, like it really fits into, the character and like Stephen Strange becoming the Sorcerer Supreme, where Tony Stark became Iron Man, like in the cave, like. It's that kind of morale of it. Like Tony Stark. you know, he goes from being, you know, well, Tony Stark to, you know, being Iron Man, but the whole transformation of the character, the realization of like, hey, shit went down, and like I have to be a new person in order to do what's right.
What I
You
think
know.
is something important to take note of is Feige has come out and said that it's very possible Doctor Strange basically becomes the new Iron Man of the MCU. So in that respect, I think it almost has to lend itself to us seeing the arrogant surgeon becoming the Mystic, because you know everyone loved Tony Stark as the arrogant playboy, you know. So maybe Stephen Strange will be kind of, you know, akin to that in character.
And I
I
do
can
often
definitely see
wonder,
that.
you guys think he's gonna have an American accent, or do you think he's gonna have his British natural accent?
Cumberbatch? I don't know.
I'd
Yeah.
hope he's American.
Did he
I
do
mean,
did he do an
he's from
accent in
Jersey.
Star Trek?
Fit
Yeah,
because
he
you know
was
he's
pretty
British.
British in Star Trek.
Was he?
Stephen Strange is from Jersey. Am I correct?
So he automatically has herpes then.
No. He
Well, that's
doesn't.
only if he's from South Jersey.
What was that, Spawn? I can't hear you.
I said don't spread ill rumors of South Jersey.
I thought it was like a fact.
It's more true the closer you get to.
Yeah, like
Alright.
if you're gonna go to Camden, there's a bunch of disease down there.
That's fine because I don't live anywhere near Camden.
Anyway, so we digress. Anybody else have anything to say before we move on?
No.
All I'm saying is that we should be getting a boatload of information real soon, because that's going to be the second movie of Phase 3, given that Civil War, right, and then Doctor Strange are the two tentpoles for 2016.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Did they start filming late summer? this
Yeah,
year?
Cumberbatch was saying that because he's actually filming something else before he does Doctor Strange. He did an interview like last week, and he was saying there was something else he was going to film. He was filming Sherlock, but I think he said there was one other project he was doing
It's
before.
probably Star Wars.
That's a whole other topic.
Yeah,
I think the one thing that gives us all faith in Doctor Strange is that we already have one great solid casting, which leads us to our next real topic, which is probably plagued by casting rumors. I'm going to let Spawn take over with your talking point.
Alright, so basically I want to talk about the Suicide Squad and all that's happened with them. Yeah, this movie's been kind of plagued with just a bunch of shitty casting rumors and confirmations a little bit. I think the best two is probably...
I think we're more or less getting from this so far is that Flag is not getting enough screen time, or there's not enough in the script, because I mean, first Hardy bails and then Gyllenhaal declines. That's two pretty decent actors that turned on it, which means that the person that does get cast is probably not going to be a true of a well-known actor, given the
Yeah,
the
it's not going
script.
to be an A-list.
Yeah.
He's not even very high profile. What do you think, Spawn? Why do you think that is?
I just think for the Suicide Squad, since they're going to base a lot of it off the New 52, Flag's not even the leader in the New 52. It's all about Deadshot and Quinn.
Which
And,
Yeah, but that's I mean, as far as casting goes, I mean, those were like the first ones, so obviously it was going to be more or less, you know, I don't want to call it the Harley Quinn show, but I mean, it's either going to be more or less her and Deadshot. I just fear that like Will Smith is making demands and they're actually giving him, you know, they're like meeting this guy's demands. You know?
I think you guys might all have the wrong idea, because we got Jared Leto as the Joker, who just won an Academy Award. There's going to be some... That's going to be a meaty
next
role.
point. That they
So what
can't
is
cast
that?
correctly.
So wait, I don't understand. You're saying that Jared Leto being the Joker, meaning that they beefed up the script just to appease him, and
Not
lessen
to
Flag's
appease him,
role?
but I think it just indicates that Leto's Joker role is going to be a lot meatier than probably most everyone else's. Will Smith will probably have the second most.
And then Quinn following him.
Yeah.
That's
Catching
probably by the
Boomerang
way
and...
they casted them. I mean, you can tell Jai Courtney as Boomerang's not exactly going to be the main star of the movie.
Well, what are you talking about? He's an Oscar-level actor.
Oh, yeah, of course. Can you deny that?
I don't even know who that guy is.
You guys want to talk about the rumors, like with that focus group that they did, like when they were telling the, you know, they basically gave them like a script of the dialogue and basically a brief plot and synopsis. Did you
Yeah,
guys
I
read
did.
that?
I did read
No.
that, and I did hear a lot about the plot twist that they did with Rick Flag, which is why Hardy left the script and why Gyllenhaal didn't sign on. I
Right,
honestly
that's what we were talking about last week when we were texting, right? Right,
Yeah,
Danny?
that was what we were talking about. We did talk about how we thought about it and how we were kind of both excited for it. I think it'll do good. I mean, to me, I love the Suicide Squad. They're, to me, what the Guardians are to 53. Just the whole political thriller tone is really going to carry them a lot if it's done correctly.
What I'm most happy about is I think, like, for years, like, Warner Brothers hasn't shown any balls with their DC properties, and putting the Suicide Squad out to follow Batman versus Superman is a ballsy move.
It
You know,
is.
on their part
Yeah.
to say, but also, you have to look in the back of your minds. It's like, all right, well, being that we're giving you all Batman, we got to find a way to get the Joker in there as soon as possible.
Yeah, that is kind of why I would think they would put it second right after Batman versus Superman. You got the Joker in the film. You have the mythos of Batman in there. It's heavily presented to you, too.
And it's
Not
going to
gonna
have
be-
as well.
Not to
because
mention is that the rumors are saying that most of this actually takes place in Gotham City.
Yeah,
Suicide
it's like an
Squad?
animated movie.
Like about the rumor we read about, the Joker leaving bombs all over the city. I don't know if you guys read that either.
Yeah, I heard most of it from everything from Rick Flag was the villain to the fact that the Joker is not even in the film a lot. He's just kind of behind the bars, and everyone just kind of talks and they're all afraid of him.
How
And
can
how
you
hard-
do that if you've got Jared Leto cast?
I don't know. I mean, look at Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter. He didn't really do anything in the movie until like the last 25 minutes.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
I mean, it was all just him acting. I don't get exactly what the problem is if you were to just have him behind bars for most of the
Well, I
movie,
mean,
then-
that's basically the rumor we read, that, like, he's going, to be, like, in a Hannibal Lecter's role. And, like, the rumors so far that, that I read was, one, obviously there would be this big prison break at the end and he would ultimately get out. But there was also the fact that Flag himself is going to end up turning on the Squad, and Waller ends up being the villain himself.
Yeah, I did mention that. I honestly don't have any bad or good to say about that. I think if people can get over the Mandarin twist, they can get over Flag being a villain because, number one, most people don't even know who the fuck Rick Flag is. Number
I
two,
have no
Rick Flag
idea
has...
who he is.
Most people don't even realize that Rick Flag, for his father at least, they've been kind of dipping in and out of the government for years now, so it's no surprise that he would at least turn on them because he didn't even like the way Waller runs shit, so... If he did turn on them, I wouldn't have a problem with it. It would be a new reinvention of a character that hasn't even been relevant for about a couple of years now.
Yeah,
I
I
would
don't
have-
know. I don't
would
know
have-
who Rick Flag
I would
is.
I like the original Squad. I don't think it should have Joker. I don't think it should have Harley Quinn.
Who's the original lineup? Tell us.
The original Squad was Rick Flag, Amanda Waller running the show. Then it was Bronze Tiger, who was like the field captain, the field leader. Then you had Enchantress, Count Vertigo, Deadshot, Captain Boomerang, and then over the years they would involve other villains in the DCU. At no point until this New 52 came along was Harley Quinn ever really part of that. But they're capitalizing on that because Harley Quinn is like the new rage now.
Well, not only that, but they also put out an animated movie with that specific team almost, to the T.
Yes.
They mixed and meshed the rosters together for that film. It was a combination of the original and the classic lineup.
Who's the big
I mean-
shark dude? Who was that guy?
King Shark.
Oh, okay, I hated that fag.
Yeah, he's stupid as fuck in the New 52 too.
That animated one was the Assault on Arkham, right?
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was the fake labeled Batman.
Yeah, that pissed me off. I thought I was gonna be watching a Batman movie.
No,
Yeah.
that's Suicide Squad.
False advertising, Monfrere.
Yeah,
Huh?
that was stupid too.
That's exactly what I thought that was. It was marquee value is all it was.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, who would honestly buy a movie titled Suicide Squad? Most people wouldn't, especially because it's animated.
That's all. That also propels the rumor or perpetuates the rumor that DC can't survive without Batman. It's like,
I mean, I wouldn't say it couldn't if it just put out a good, decent movie that's not Batman, but at the same time, the fact that they're already putting in the Joker and Harley Quinn in this movie, they're obviously going to be the biggest players next to Deadshot, kind of negates that whole thing. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, they do have a great casting. I mean, people can shit on the race bending all they want. Will Smith would be a decent Deadshot if he can just act how he usually does.
see, the thing is, I don't really know too much about Deadshot other than what I saw in the Assault on Arkham, which you basically seemed to be like Tony Stark. I mean, he even looked like Tony Stark in that. So I don't know.
It's kind of hard to describe him. I mean, he's a master marksman. I mean, he can mostly hit anyone with anything. He's kind of like Bullseye, if I had to
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get his power set. It's more the personality that I want to that Will Smith has to portray. You know, I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly what angle they're going for. You know, are they going to go for someone like Tony Stark from the Assault on Arkham movie? Or are they going for? I don't. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that much about him.
But he's very disturbed too. Like you could tell he's just a nut that's trying to just tell himself he's the shit, because if he didn't, he would know how much of a loser he is.
He seemed pretty together to me on Assault on Arkham, but again, it's my only basis.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Suicide Squad fan. I mean, I've read everything from the Ostrander run to the New 52, so I know a shit ton about them. This is also why I kind of don't care who makes the roster in this film, because more than half of them, if you look at it, will die in the film. That's kind of the whole point of the Suicide Squad. You kill off characters to...
Do you think they're gonna put the implants in their heads to blow them off?
Oh, most definitely. I think everyone in that whole film is gonna get a bomb right in their heads, and then eventually someone will have their head blown off in that movie. I don't know who though.
My money's on Captain Boomerang.
It should be Boomerang. The connect. I think.
What do you guys think the connection to Lex Luthor is going to be?
The Suicide Squad's gonna break into Lex book.
Yes.
I think it's gonna be kind of like a teaser trailer, a teaser at the end. I don't think he's gonna have a major role at all.
He'll be buying real estate. But
He'll
yeah,
probably approach Amanda Waller at the end, saying like, "I've got something for you," blah blah blah.
The only thing I can think
Well,
of
I mean-
is, I was going to say that if the Joker breaks out by the end of the film, they can have a Lex Luthor and Joker team up being teased.
I don't know if
Yeah,
I
that's
want to see
possible.
that or not.
I read that Lex Luthor covets the Enchantress, like he wants her for her powers, or her skill set, let me say, and that Amanda Waller actually intercepts her before Luthor could get to her.
That's an interesting angle.
That would make sense. I mean, you do want magic to kill Superman, and Lex Luthor being Lex Luthor would probably know that magic is basically Superman's kryptonite.
Do you think they're
So
gonna?
basically, in Batman vs Superman, we're gonna find out that the Man of Steel is no good against magic.
I would say so.
You think they're gonna really keep that up?
I think they do, because I think they kind of have to, because Wonder Woman's in the film.
Well, the thing is, they've kind of written themselves in the corner where they can't use kryptonite.
Oh, because Krypton blew up or what?
Well, yeah, they haven't introduced it yet, so they can't just suddenly introduce it.
I don't know. I'm sure that they could find a way. I think especially because there was Kryptonian technology from Batman or from the first Superman movie. You never know what would happen.
The terrain from all the shit that was destroyed could probably produce something close to kryptonite.
Yeah, they were terraforming.
That's true. That's true.
That's at least what I would think. I mean, I don't know how exactly they're going to write it. It could be something completely off and retarded, but I would hope that's it.
I mean, what do we have to know is that, we got what? Kryptonian ships and Zod's body?
and Zod's armor, which I think honestly will be retrofitted to be Luthor's armor.
Yeah.
And now
What about this latest stupid rumor about fucking General Zod becoming fucking Doomsday?
Doomsday? Yeah, I saw that. That's a load of horseshit.
That's gotta be bullshit.
I didn't.
That
see
has
that.
to be.
That makes no sense. So I don't know. I didn't even read that.
There's been tons of rumors about the movie to the point I don't even want to read or believe anything I hear, because there was rumors months ago that Ben Affleck was going to quit the movie.
I think we should table that till we discuss Batman vs Superman.
Yeah, I think the worst thing right now is that there are so many rumors circling the DC universe that I don't know where to start, organizing fact from fiction. So it's just, to me,
Why don't
it's
you
just
guys roll into Batman versus Superman? We'll go to Hope Van Dyne after mine, since it kind of they're two related a little bit,
All right, so John, this is up to you, bud.
All right, man. Cool.
stayed
I've
pretty
been
fucking
just sitting here
quiet.
just enjoying the conversation, just listening to what y'all have to say.
Well, take center stage, man.
Yeah, well, I think the latest thing was just released, maybe a week and a half ago, that the movie was actually going to be split into two parts. And, that I guess it was going to be both of them, but they were going to focus on Batman versus Superman, but one more essentially focused on Batman and the other focused on Superman.
Is that
My
concrete?
opinion- What's that?
Is that concrete or is that a rumor again?
I think that's another rumor, man.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, actually, it was funny that Joe was the one who sent me that kind of bomb. I mean, to me, rumor, I'll take it for what it's worth right now. I dig it. I like the fact, because I think that those two guys right now, they're, in my mind, and in a lot of just, not even fanboys' minds, man, just like the general comic book, thing, the fandom, that is like the mecca of, of comic book superheroes. Like, they're more than, just comic book heroes or icons. To get something like that, and then to give them both probably the attention, I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming that maybe the script was just so long or so, drawn out, that it was, you know, decided just probably to split it in two parts. And like I said, I'm cool with that. I mean, I'm cool with the introduction of, Batman in the first part and, kind of basically, one whole movie that kind of puts them at odds a little bit. Maybe the second movie, them kind of finding that common ground and doing whatever that they need to do, to kind of overcome whatever enemy, whatever threat is there. So, but I think that's gonna take a lot, because it's just a lot of story, man. I mean, that's a lot of history, I mean, and it's not taking anything away from any of the, any of the other team up movies or things that have gone on Marvel side or anything like that. I mean, I know that they can do it in one movie, and that's awesome. There's just a lot of story to tell, between the relationship between Batman and Superman or Bruce and Clark. I mean, it's, like that's another thing is I mean, that probably is another reason if they do go the double, the two-parter, it's to really establish Batman that he's been around in the universe.
Yeah.
Rather than have something like, oh, well, it's Christopher Nolan's, or let's just say, and I don't even want to mention Christopher Nolan anymore. Let's just say Bale's Batman, if he met up with, Cavill Superman. It's a different route because,
I think
Marvel has a little bit of the right idea by giving them their separate movies and then putting them in the group movie where, you can't just throw the two biggest iconic, superheroes of all time in one movie and just, the first 30 minutes are at odds, and then the next 30 minutes they're finding out their common ground, and the last, 30 minutes they're buddy-buddy. It's going to take time. But, I mean, hey, man, like I said, 50% of this movie has me won over just over the fact that I'm alive to see Batman and Superman on the same screen. That's
Well,
just going to be nuts.
that's ultimately what the draw is, and
Yeah.
also it's a smart business move for Warner Brothers to do that, and given the fact that like throughout all this time we've never seen Batman and Superman on the silver screen together.
I think the biggest pro with splitting up this movie into two parts, if they do that, is that you can establish Batman and let the audience know that this is a completely different Batman than what you just saw in 2012.
Right.
Yeah.
Flesh that character
That's more
out.
or less the again, titles and the rumor, like, Enter the Night actually is a good title if that were the case. Now that night, again, this is all rumor and nothing's confirmed or denied pretty much.
I think it is concrete that this is not a Man of Steel sequel. This is because Man of Steel will still get a sequel after this movie. So Batman vs. Superman is not a sequel to Man of Steel. It's just a continuation of the universe. If anyone
Yeah, I
didn't
was to
know
say
that.
it's a sequel in the sense of that it's the movie following, but not really.
Right. It's the sequel to the entire DCU franchise, but it's not a direct sequel to Man of Steel.
It's just the next part. It's just the next stage of the story.
Exactly.
Like
Well, I
the
mean,
main.
and it's a part of the formula that everyone's doing. It's broadening and opening up the universe.
Right.
Like saying it's not, you can't call the Avengers a sequel to Captain America or a sequel. It's its own entity, but it's going to be the first in a series where it expands the universe and it, not just expands but combines the universe. So, like that's the thing is rather than take a couple more years and make another Batman and then have, the solo Batmans and the solo Supermans and then the group. It's just like, man, let's just go ahead and just bring them the group, like let's add it in.
Personally,
So-
I applaud them for taking that direction because I think a lot of people are really talking shit about this movie just for the sole fact that they aren't doing it the formula the same way Marvel did it. They're not copying Marvel's formula, and personally, I like that. I like that we're not going to get 4 or 5 solo movies leading to a group movie. They decided to just, let's do a somewhat of a group movie right after the first established DCU film, and I'm fine with that. Like, it doesn't bother me, but I think a lot of people think Marvel did
They
it
think-
right, so
They
that's
think
what they
I
should
think.
do.
They think what I think. They think that DC's trying to play catch up. That's what I think. I'm sorry, but that's what I think. I think that they're trying to play catch up now. They're behind the ball with these movies in their universe, and they're trying to play catch up. That's my opinion.
Oh, I totally agree. I think they are, but
Yeah.
I like that they're not going about it the exact same way Marvel did in like a copycat fashion. I like that they've taken their own formula and they want to see if it works or not.
Yeah, and to add on to that, and and Uni kind of touched on this. I think the one thing that really turns off people, besides anything else that's concrete, besides like casting and all that, is the fact that there's so many rumors about the DC universe. It's hard to distinguish what's real and what's not.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Well, and
it's actually just it's
oh, sorry, and it's made worse by the fact that they pushed the movie back a whole year, so they
Yeah.
give more time for rumors to come flowing in.
That could be due to the two-parter thing, though.
I mean, that's true too. I mean, like I said, I mean, the thing is it's a different, it's just a whole different version of the same kind of thing, which they're bringing in a universe, and yeah, it's just really random and kind of ironic that Warner Brothers has had DC under their belt for like the last 30 years. So I mean, these guys could have put a Justice League movie or a Batman Superman movie whenever they wanted to. It's just now they're seeing, that a formula like this is working, yet they don't want to follow the same formula. And like I said, I think that that's a good move too, because if they done it, first of all, you'd have 50% of, you'd have one half of people that are saying like, oh man, they just want to be like Marvel and, try and play second fiddle. And then you have the other people who are just like, man, that they'd be like more upset that they would have to follow Marvel, because it's like, man, it's just the same thing with different characters. When it's like, man, just like do something totally off the wall different. That's nobody. I mean, I don't know. I can't remember what Comic-Con it was. It was like what two years ago probably. But the Comic-Con where they just had the Batman and Superman logo together. I mean, people freaked, man. Like that was just something totally blindsided you. And it's kind of like the same way that people got blindsided when they saw Samuel L. Jackson in Iron Man. It's just like, oh shit, this can really happen within the next couple of years. So, and now we're getting a little bit closer and closer. And I mean, I don't know. It's just, to me, it just keeps it, keeps it thirsty. I just seeing like pictures here and there. And I mean, love the Batman suit.
Yeah, that's another thing I wanted to comment on. Another pro is I love the Batman suit. I love that they went away from the all black.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the same thing that Kevin Smith said. It was one of those things like, there's never been a Batman costume in movies where it's just like, man, that came from the books exactly.
Yeah.
Like like they didn't make it a movie version. Like that's Frank Miller. Like it's Frank Miller's suit straight up, man. He's thick. He's got the shorter ears. He's got the bigger neck. I mean, that's
Dude, the logo. The fucking logo is so awesome.
Yeah,
I don't like the logo, man. I don't like that big logo.
I'm not a big fan of that Batman chest logo, but the thing is, I can appreciate how it's different. How it's just really different.
I appreciate the fact that it's from Frank Miller's run.
I give credit, they went different, and they're definitely more comic accurate than any other suit. But I just don't like the logo, and I'm not a fan of short ears on Batman. I just don't like it.
I love the short ears.
You kind of split it. You like it from a comic standpoint that they actually took something from the comics, but you don't like it because it was a shitty thing done in the comics.
I think the
Well,
short
I don't think
ears
it's
is good.
shit. It's something from the comics I don't like necessarily.
It's just like one of the versions he doesn't like. People don't like a certain version of Iron Man's armor the way it's drawn. It's the same thing, but like he can appreciate the fact that it really is relied on like the comic book.
I'll say this: the one thing that the movie so far have done right that I like is I like the ear length on all the costumes. It's kind of medium. It's not the super stupid long ears.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the super short ears either.
Oh, yeah,
they kind of got it in the middle. I kind of like those ears.
Yeah, those dumb radar ears that fucking stretch out to the fucking satellite.
I mean, to be honest, and if it was me just being picky, I would have like the Affleck suit with the Batman Begins chest logo and the Batman Begins cowl. Like that to me would be the ideal Batman costume, because the Batman Begins cowl.
That would probably be about perfect.
No, not for me. Like, I'm gonna have to disagree on that one. I like that we can actually see the shape of Batman's head through the cowl that Ben Affleck's wearing. Like this, that's how it's drawn in the comics. I mean, it looks like this is.
I think getting away from the whole jet black thing is a great move. I mean, I'm not saying. Yeah. I don't want to say, oh, people are tired of it. I just think the change was necessary. Plus, there's so many fanboys that were screaming for more of the grayish, dark grayish.
Oh yeah, man, the classic. And that's the cool thing is it looks more like a bodysuit. Like I don't even know what the material is made out of, but you can see like a bodysuit under there. So it really is more like they took little parts of each of the movie costumes, like just little parts.
I mean, this one looks like gave it the Frank Miller flair. Yeah, the body in it looks like kind of like the new 52 Batman. I mean, it's still sleek, but it definitely looks like it's still kind of armored in some way in the new 52 Batman. It doesn't
Yeah,
look like it's
yeah.
spandex, you know.
Oh, I was gonna say my only problem with the suit would be the utility belt, and I've always had a problem with the utility belt in every single movie. But I just think that yellow isn't a color that's ever going to be done correctly in a movie. They would have to blacken it a lot to the point it doesn't even look like the comics.
Yeah.
That's I mean that's the one.
I mean,
design.
it's the same thing with Superman and the trunks, man. Like, you know, I'm always gonna argue, man. The trunks to me, they just scream classic. I would have put them on there. Had it been me, but you know, it's not my movie to make, so that's that.
I think if they didn't want to do trunks, maybe what they could have done is they could have colored that area of the suit red or something.
Mm-hmm. Or at least like the new 52, which have a red belt, like a full red belt.
Right. And, you know, maybe they could in the movie do that or something.
Yeah.
The only other thing I have to say, sorry, Spawn, did you have something to say?
Oh no, go ahead.
This is just kind of me topping out the discussion on this one for myself anyway. I think that if they do split up Batman versus Superman into two films, we should really start to look at what DC's doing in their animated films and see how much they're probably taking influence from those animated films to put on screen. The way that The Dark Knight Returns was animated was split into two parts. The Suicide Squad movie, Throne of Atlantis that just came out, I think we need to start maybe looking at those for the influence that they're going to be taking in their live action films.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the fact that the Dark Knight Returns was split into two parts in the animated films, and if true, they're going to split this movie into two parts, which just goes to show that they are really going to follow, at least to a degree, the Dark Knight Returns storyline in the film.
Oh yeah, there's no question about that. What were you saying, Durf?
I was going to say, bringing back to that, what you're saying about the animated movies, what if maybe they are taking a cue? What if the Justice League movie is Throne of Atlantis?
Well, considering that I like Throne of Atlantis worlds better than I did War, I'd be fine.
Because, I mean,
it
people
depends.
speculate that it's going to be Lex Luthor and it's going to be Doomsday and whatnot in Justice League. What if they throw the curveball at us and they do the Throne of Atlantis storyline?
Well, I liked Orm a lot, which I think he's actually Ocean Master, right? But either way, I liked him a lot, so I'm cool.
He is Ocean Master.
Yeah, I think the thing is, I think Black Manta definitely needs to have a bigger role than he did in the animated film. Spoiler alert for any listeners, but
No, they don't know who Black Man is. That whatever.
yeah,
Almost no one does or respects him.
I like Black Man. He's definitely cool.
I respect the
I
hell out
dig
of him.
shit out of Black Manta, dude. That's
He's got one of the coolest villain designs of the DC universe, if you ask me.
yeah,
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
those red eyes with the gray helmet on film look so fucking badass if they did it correctly.
It would. Anyone else have anything to say about Batman versus Supes before we
Which
move
begs
on
the
to...
question, though. I mean, if it is, yeah, exactly. I mean, if it is in two parts, I mean, how much Aquaman are we actually going to get? I mean, is it an end credit? Is it a cameo, or is it a cameo plus role?
See, okay, here's my thought. If it stays one movie, and they're saying Aquaman and Wonder Woman aren't necessarily gonna have huge roles, that's where I think they could do Throne of Atlantis. The Aquaman thing could be a cameo.
Yeah, I think it would be if it is contained to one film. This is going to open up a whole other door, but what do we think Wonder Woman's role is even going to be?
I mean, probably mediator, dude. Y'all know my stance on Wonder Woman. I mean, she's cool to be in the movie, but yeah.
I hate the casting for Wonder Woman. Everyone knows that, but
I'm not going to go on about Wonder Woman because I could spend a whole hour ranting.
yeah, all I want to really ask is how do you think they're going to approach the mythology behind her character? Is it going to be true to the myth? Is it going to be, I don't know, the new 52 version? I'm assuming it's pretty much the Greek goddess thing. But do you think they're really going to incorporate that into the DCU?
They're putting her back in time. I mean, they're acting as though Wonder Woman was around in the 20s
Well,
doing things.
Well, that's kind of a rumor at this point, but I mean, yeah, I mean they might. I don't know.
Yeah, I think whatever hero that's not Superman or Batman that appears in this film is going to be limited to a cameo.
Like
kinda
when
hope so.
when I read the whole like at a time thing, like pictures of her in different time periods, I'm like, are they trying to make her the Captain America of the DC universe, or is
More like
she going to be
Thor.
the Thor?
Back in
Right.
old Viking days.
Correct.
I would like to see her more the Thor.
Yeah, same
Yeah.
here.
Me too.
'Cause I
Superman's
think
always
she
been the
fits that
Captain
role
America.
really well.
All right, I mean, I'm good on Batman vs Superman. John, you have any last comments? This is your baby here.
Other than the fact I can't wait for it, man. Getting closer every day.
Damn
Can't
right.
wait.
All right.
Yeah, DC sucks.
Of course, Josh has to come in and throw that out there.
On that note, we'll go to Bags, dude. There you go, man. Hope Van Dyne and Ant-Man. Take it away.
What's going on, everybody? I mean, I don't think I have to go on and on and on about how much I really don't like the idea of this movie at all, anyway. But I'm not, to start off with, I'm not really a huge Ant-Man fan to begin with. And the only thing I found interesting about him in the comics was his ties to Ultron. And since that's been weakened, I'm pretty much, okay, what the fuck is this then? You know, what are we doing here? I need everybody to sell me on it. I have no idea. This is the first Marvel movie I haven't been able to get behind.
You know what? I'm completely with you. I gotta say, this is probably the first trailer that Marvel has released that I didn't really get that hyped up about. You know, I watched it, I thought, it looks like there's some cool stuff going on, but as far as story goes, I really have no idea what to expect or what to think, and I love Hank Pym, probably one of my favorite Marvel characters, and the fact that we're not getting him bothers me, but I'm over it. Paul Rudd, I have all the faith in the world in his performance, which I know a lot of people don't. I've got no problem with him, but I don't know what to expect from Ant-Man. I think that the only tie this movie's gonna have with Age of Ultron is the fact that Hank Pym, Douglas, created the AI or the program back in the 60s, and as they said in Avengers Age of Ultron synopsis, is that Stark dusted off an old program, which I'm guessing is Pym's old program.
That'd be fine. I'd be okay with that.
Which still gives him a hand in creating Ultron. But as far as
So is that going to be a mixture of the other rumor that Ultron is actually AI from Chitauri?
he's an AI from what?
The other rumor that was floating around was that, you know, after the Battle of New York, that Ultron is actually a computer program or something that had to do with the Chitauri.
Oh yeah.
I think that one's BS.
Yeah, I think that's probably far-fetched. But what
Because
I
in
mean,
the beginning they said that Stark's dusting off an old program.
yeah, I do think there was a little bit of a throw to Ultron and Captain America: The Winter Soldier, though. It was a small throwaway line, and it was basically when Black Widow was at the Apple store or whatever, and she was talking about the AI program and whoever wrote it on that little drive. I can't remember the exact line.
That somebody kept whatever she was doing. They kept like what was the line?
It keeps rewriting itself. The
Yeah,
AI
it
keeps
keeps
rewriting.
rewriting itself. But wasn't that Zola?
Yeah, I took that as Zola, but it could be a nod to Ultron.
I think that was what I thought when I first saw it, and every time I watch it since, I still think it's got to be a nod to Ultron. But either way, that's like the only Ultron thing I can think of that's been mentioned so far in any other MCU film.
I mean, the only thing that really works for Ant-Man, which I've been saying since the beginning, is it's going to be coming off the heels and all the success of Age of Ultron. You know, so Ant-Man's actually, you know, the timing for the movie to come out is near perfect given the fact that the character's not as popular.
Yeah, I think Marvel's definitely smart in marketing. That's the one thing they really know how to do, and I think knowing that, they will do their best to leave as much of a connective tissue between Age of Ultron and Ant-Man possible.
I'll say this as far as my thoughts on Ant-Man go. I'm kind of still in the camp with Uni and Greg here. This is the one Marvel movie I'm just not sure about.
I'll still see it for sure. I'll be there opening night.
Well, I'm gonna see it because I give them the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, making Yellow Jacket a villain, and I don't recognize the guy playing the villain. I don't know. It's just an interesting thing, and I mean, obviously we have Edgar Wright to thank for Scott Lang, but yeah, I really don't know what to make of it.
That's what bothers me. When they could have probably very well just scrapped it and started over from scratch, they're trying to make something somebody else wrote work.
Yeah.
Well, see, the problem is they already set the release date and everything, and they kind of got into a corner.
Yeah, which is another reason to be worried. That means they're
Plus
forcing.
Edgar Wright got paid, and his name is going to be on there for credits purposes as
He'll
well.
just get story by Edgar Wright.
Yeah, it's kind of at this point. It's kind of just damage control.
You're right.
I
Let's
mean,
just put out something semi-entertaining and hope it makes a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Move on.
With Peyton Reed, I mean, I don't know how much faith I can have in the guy who directed Bring It On and Yes Man, but you know,
Absolutely none.
Marvel really has proven themselves with the directors they get.
Well, the Russos did Community, and everybody was like, "Why are they getting these guys?" And I mean, look how that turned out.
I was one of the very
only
few that
previous film
defended
credit
him.
was Yumi and Dupree.
He did
See,
that
that's
too.
what I'm saying.
What a classic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can't say. I mean, I defended the Russos, you know, to the teeth, but this one's got me scratching my head a little. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna guess that with Edgar Wright and Peyton Reed and Paul Rudd, we're gonna have a pretty juiced up comedic factor.
Are they going to just gloss over Janet though completely?
Oh,
Like,
that
not
I
even
think
mention-
that was
Oh,
gonna be
yeah, just drive the final nail in the coffin.
that was Gregorius's biggest gripe, I think, is that Hope Van Dyne thing. I mean, are they combining Janet Van Dyne and Hope Summers? I mean, I don't get, where's Hope coming from?
No,
I
Hope Van
saw-
Dyne is actually.
All we know is that she's going to be the daughter of Hank Pym and Janet. That's all we know.
Hope Van Dyne is actually a character from the
Yes.
comic.
Is she?
Yes,
Yeah.
she is actually his daughter.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know
And she
Pym had a
ends up
daughter.
being a villain, I think.
She ends up being a villain?
She becomes a
I
villain later.
Oh,
I think Lily is a good cast, but I'd rather see Lily as Janet.
yeah.
Well, but they skipped over the best part of Ant-Man, which is Janet Van Dyne and fucking Hank Pym, you know?
Yeah.
Let's skip over that.
What are you talking about? What do
It's
you,
you
you
fucking
don't,
stupid slang. Fucking
There was
like
that
that
whole
was-
rumor that, you know, there'd be a huge time loop in Age of Ultron that could possibly bring the past Hank Pym into the present to make him younger again, but I mean, that seems pretty far-fetched.
that also is just kind of bullshit because why couldn't they just make him young?
Edgar
Why would
Maybe
Wright.
that's their way of trying to introduce the time stone.
I mean, that's one of the things I would think of, but Edgar Wright, I think, really shot us all in the foot here.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's
I
really
was
only,
about to say,
there's
yeah.
only There's only two stones out there, and a couple of movies to go before Thanos gets his hands on everything.
I can't even say shot in the foot. Like, he fucking shot it in the head, made sure it was dead, and buried that shit because I could not give two pieces of little ant shit about the movie. I personally don't like anything I've heard about the film.
I'm still gonna watch it. I'm still gonna root
I think
for it.
I think the visuals look good. I will admit that Marvel, if anything, will do amazing on the shrinking scenes. Those would probably be the best parts of the movie easily, but everything else.
I think if I keep on lowering my expectations like I am, I might like it a little.
It
go
could,
to the theaters
it
with
could
your
be a
eyes closed.
sleeper hit, though, man.
If I like walk into the movie theater expecting like I don't know something fucking really stupid, I can't even think of it.
Well, I mean, it depends on the contracts too. I mean, if Rudd and Douglas are signed on for multiple pictures, I mean, obviously they're gonna have Ant-Man Infinity War.
You think we'll ever get a giant man? That would be
I
really
think-
cool on screen.
I think we'll see him by the end of the movie.
Really? You think we're gonna see
I-
it in Ant-Man?
Yeah, I actually do. I think we will see a giant man more.
That'd be
I think
interesting.
I think that's what they're saving in the film. Like the big finale is him transforming into a giant man.
That'd be something I would expect to see in like Infinity Wars or something. I don't know.
I don't know. I really don't know because honestly, if he's transforming into a giant man, I mean, you have a bunch of other characters who are capable of taking him down. So why not just introduce him in Ant-Man?
You could have Pym be Giant Man and Lang could still be Ant-Man.
Pym ain't doing a damn thing but getting old.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I mean,
It's,
broken.
it might be harder for him to break his head.
He's gonna die before Infinity War starts filming.
Oh, ouch.
Oh, ouch.
Damn.
Just roll him out in a giant wheelchair.
Bags just made it sad.
Yeah, he just depressed me a little bit.
Fucking Infinity War, he might die before the end of the movie's finished.
He just survived like throat cancer or something, didn't he?
Yeah.
Is that
Oh,
Kirk
Bags, you
Douglas?
bastard.
I think it was Michael Douglas because she's married to Catherine Zeta-Jones, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it was Michael Douglas then. Well, another thing I will, I mean, they're introducing Cassie Lang, which, I mean, if you know your comics, she ends up being one of the Young Avengers, which I know is never going to come soon, but it gives me a little hope we'll see that.
Well, we won't see Wasp.
We will see Wasp.
Well,
We'll
see.
I mean,
Wasp.
originally Whedon wanted to put Wasp in the Avengers.
I think we'll
Did-
see Wasp. I just won't see Janet.
Look at my
You
dick.
can thank Edgar Wright for that too.
You can thank Edgar Wright for everything bad you
It's
can
not
say
gonna be
about the
Wasp.
movie.
Then I don't think they should be calling themselves Wasp and change the fucking name.
Well, Hank Pym did become the Wasp later. I don't know. That guy's had more fucking monikers and aliases than Jenna Jameson has people in her ass.
Wow.
I beg to differ.
Someplace to take it.
But,
It was. Then it's turn.
anyways, anyone else have anything to say on Ant-Man?
Meg is not here to appreciate your ass reference.
All right, does anybody want to move on to the next one?
But yeah, I really don't think there's anything else to talk about Ant-Man.
All right, Josh, you want to take away on the Sony hack and Spider-Man?
So
Can we
yeah.
not talk about Sony or Avi Arad?
Go ahead, Josh.
Josh, go ahead.
Come on, you British bastard, talk.
Right, so, okay, everybody knows about the Sony hacking and the Spider-Man rumors and all that. I was hoping to tackle on the, well, you know, the whole thing that, well, supposedly there's a Spidey Summit happening this month. And we're already at the end of the month, though, and we still don't really have any news and stuff like that, so I was kind of hoping, we get to speculate on what could happen if Spider-Man comes back to Marvel Studios, and also basically we don't really have any news on that, so I don't even know if it's happening. I don't know if it's a real thing, because we can't really rely on the fucking mails released by hackers. So, but I mean, the reason why I'm bringing Spider-Man up is because I want to speculate on what could happen if he comes back. I don't care about the Sony hacking anymore, because fuck that. I mean, we're gonna have answers no matter what, sooner or later. So, what if Spider-Man comes back? Do you want to see like high school Peter Parker, or a more adult Spider-Man, or in the worst case scenario, a different Spider-Man, as in Spider-Man 2099 or Miles Morales?
I'd like the 25 to 30-year-old Peter Parker. I think that would be great.
Yeah, I agree.
I just want to see him out of high school. I'm done with high school.
Yeah, give me college age Parker.
Yeah, we don't need to see the young Spider-Man anymore.
Established hero.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Not a newcomer, but I do want to see the fucking media hate him. I mean, they barely touched on that at all in the Garfield movies.
And what you can do is you can Incredible Hulk the origin.
Yes, thank God. Yes,
No.
Show it in the fucking credits.
we don't
Opening
need
credits.
another Spider-Man origin.
With Mary Jane or without?
Gwen first.
I don't know. I mean, if he's experienced, right? Maybe Gwen's already dead.
Yeah.
No, you can't have
Yeah, I mean,
Gwen
you want
die
to see him
off
gone
screen.
through some shit already, you know? To being able, because I mean, realistically, Peter Parker was never the same after Gwen Stacy died.
He didn't even meet Gwen till college.
Is that right? Because I thought she was his first love. Was it really college?
Not till college.
Oh, okay. Well, it was always right around there that I knew. I don't know. The thing that gets me is like the whole deal Marvel and Sony are trying to strike up about the 75-25 creative property and all that kind of shit. You know, splitting it up.
There's just so much. There's just so many questions, man. It's just too much. Like, you know, it's either they're gonna go through with it or they're not. But I mean, Sony's gonna want something in return, and it's obvious that Marvel and Kevin Feige want Avi Arad nowhere near Spider-Man, which is what we all want.
Nobody wants, Avi Arad's ass around. From what I heard,
I think it almost gets to a point where like Feige, I don't think he would even care at this point, because he's got so much good stuff going on with his other characters. So it's just
They don't really need him, but
yeah.
I'll
It's
be
like,
the
if you're
bad
gonna
guy.
give me- if you're gonna give me back Spider-Man, then give it back, but don't sit here and try and make stuff about you. Like, if you're gonna give it to me, it's gonna be my new version. It's gonna be a new, something completely new. But even though it's completely
They're not.
new, I don't know.
I know what you're saying, Johnny. They're not. Marvel's not desperate for Spider-Man. They can get
Yeah,
him.
they're
They
not.
can get him. They could not get him back. So really, they have.
the show's gonna go on with or without him.
Exactly.
Because they know in the end they're gonna get him
But
back.
they-
I mean, Sony's kind of a sinking ship at this point.
I mean, to be honest, that's another thing about Spider-Man is just I think we've seen there's been 5 over the course of 12 years, so I think pretty much not to sound like a Spider-Man hater, because I fucking love Spider-Man. What I'm saying is, like, I think it's pretty much drawn out at this point, to where it's just like, goddamn, there's been 5 movies over the course of 12 years. It's just like, give Spider-Man, as much as I would love to see him with this new, Civil War and all that, it really could be time for him to just take a real long break, And when I say a long break, I want to say like 5 to 8 years.
See, I think we would
I
be
just
thinking
think that
a
if
different.
if he doesn't come back to Marvel, Sony's just gonna try and pump out what they
Yeah,
want to.
but what I'm saying is like, by the time all this happens, I think that's what people are wanting. Some people might not understand, or what some people will want is like, as soon as the rights hit Marvel, they're gonna be like, bam, we're gonna go for a Spider-Man. It's just like, no, man, let him sit. Once he gets back to Marvel, let him sit at Marvel for a little bit. Give some more attention to some of these other guys, these B and I don't want to call them B and C level, but the what everyone else would call the B roster.
Maybe
You know,
maybe Marvel's just gonna use them the way they're using the Incredible Hulk and Hawkeye, meaning they're just gonna feature them in the big event movies, like
But I
you
mean,
know.
let's see, Batman and Robin, which was the most horrible Batman, movie. Between that was 8 years because it was, yeah, it took 8 years from Batman and Robin to Batman Begins. So like by that time, people had already forgotten enough about Batman as like a movie character, and that's the thing is like right around that time, around 2002, you started to see the resurgence of like superhero movies. So like I think that's one thing is like, I mean, maybe just let Spider-Man sit because like I don't know, man, it's just the way of a fan I am. I can wait forever for a superhero. It's like, why is it taking so long, or why don't they make this kind of movie? It's like, bro, I'm patient about that. I can wait for like Black Panther. I have no problems with Guardians coming out before Black Panther, or one of these other Captain Marvel coming out before Black Panther because like, look, as long as I know Black Panther's gonna be done right, I'm cool. So that's the thing is like I still like after these two versions of Spider-Man, I don't think that we've gotten the definitive Spidey
See,
movie. And I mean, if I need to wait till 2020 or 2025 to get that, that'll be cool with me because I'll know that that's the definitive Spidey movie right there. Like that's the perfect Spidey movie.
that's what I've been thinking. I mean, I think if Spider-Man's quality, like the quality of the films had kept up with the Raimi Spider-Man 1 and 2, none of us would be saying, "Oh, Spider-Man needs a break." But the thing is, from what I read about the Sony Marvel agreement, Marvel was only going to use Spider-Man in team-up films while Sony would put out the solo films. And so they'd have a 75-25 agreement, and it would go, if Spider-Man is in an MCU film and he's in a team-up film, Marvel gets 75% of the commission, basically, but Sony gets to cast the character, and they get the rights to the solo films, and Marvel would get 25% of those solo films as well.
What
Yeah,
was
I
I
would just
surprised?
rather not have Spider-Man movies than that.
I mean, I love Spider-Man. I want to see Spider-Man. I just don't want to see any more Spider-Man 3s and Amazing Spider-Mans.
You don't want to. Well, you
Or
don't want to see any
Spider-Man
rush
2s.
projects. Those are. I mean, like that's what I'm saying. When you're looking at the bad movies, you're looking at rushed projects. Like those are projects that they're like, you know what? We just need to get this movie out.
Shit, that would bring me to Fantastic Four, but that's a whole
Yeah.
other shit.
We're
Oof.
let's just not talk about that.
Yeah, that's
Oof. Wow.
that is the black
Oh.
sheep of all Marvel films.
Yeah, we kind of just avoided that one like the plague. I
Yeah.
don't think
Well,
anyone
we'll
even.
agree on
But I mean,
the only-
that's what I'm saying.
the
Like
only
that's
thing
putting
you'll-
out.
What are you saying, Bags?
Well, that's the only thing we all agree on. We don't have to talk about Fantastic Four because we all think it's a shit idea.
Yeah,
it's gonna be-
It would just be a rotating circle of just fuck it,
Everybody
it
take their
sucks.
turn.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So where are you getting at, John?
No, I was just saying, man. Like that's the thing is like people can tell nowadays. You can see what's a rush project, and you can see what has had its taken its time. And like the Avengers, the first time they mentioned the Avengers was in 2006. So I mean, 6 years later, in 2012, you get the greatness that we got. So it's like, just if they just take it easy, and just do, develop a movie slowly, and everything, I think all the stars will align. Like I said, I would wait till 2020 if I knew that we were gonna get the perfect Spider-Man film, and it's like, you know,
I'll tell you what, if Sony had another franchise under its belt that could make money the way Spider-Man does, they would probably be a little more inclined to give up Spider-Man. But because they're going broke and bankrupt and they have no other franchises like that, they're hanging on with a death grip.
yeah.
I mean, they have James Bond, but I mean, it sounds like Spider-Man.
Speaking of that, I'm gonna be the bad guy and the realist here and say Spider-Man's not coming back to Marvel.
Not anytime soon, no.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I would love it to happen, but then again, another thing with me loving it to happen is like just because the rights come home doesn't mean I want them to all immediately start on a Spider-Man. It's like, hey man, you still got your other group of guys that you're doing, so do those first.
Give it the Daredevil treatment. They got Daredevil back and waited for a plan, and they finally came up with a plan, and now we're getting a Daredevil series, which I'm super fucking stoked for. So
Well, the thing that tells me that Spider-Man's kind of a dying brand right now is Captain America and Guardians of the Galaxy out-grossed it completely.
well, Captain America was an insanely good film.
So
Right, but I mean, but 5 years ago, that would have been unheard of.
Oh yeah, for sure. And there's
Yeah.
another thing to John's point. Rushing films. Captain America 1 was 2011. The last one just came out in 2014. There's 3 years in between the sequel to make a good quality film like what we got.
and they did switch
Yeah.
directors, which was even more of a fucking.
Well,
terrible.
Joe Johnston was probably not the right person to bring him to the president.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, from the beginning, Joe Johnston said he wasn't coming back for the
Joe
sequel, but
Johnston-
they hired him specifically to make a period movie, being that Joe Johnston had so much experience with that time period, the 1940s.
Exactly. It's like Kenneth Branagh and Thor because his Shakespeare background, you know?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I'm not a huge fan of the first Avenger nor Thor. I thought that those were just movies made for the sole purpose of introducing them in the Avengers. But the sequels were, especially the Winter Soldier, were well done. Which
Yeah.
is.
And well done is an understatement for
No
Captain.
shit, dude. I'm sorry, but other than Avengers, Captain America 2 is like the perfect superhero movie.
Yeah.
To me. So,
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I'm not. I mean, it's fucking the Winter Soldier. I mean, it was fucking on every level. Like anything you can think of, fight scenes, acting. It was
There
phenomenal.
was
I agree, Joe.
The only weird scene was that guy in khakis. That kind of threw me off.
Oh, that dude
Oh,
was
yeah.
a stud. Are you serious? For all listeners,
Weirdo,
please.
man.
Dude, that fucking guy made me nearly walk out of the theater.
For all listeners, please go and watch The Winter Soldier. Fast forward to about an hour and 18 minutes into the film and look for a man with khakis.
Golly,
Yes,
isn't,
that
isn't
is-
marked
that is-
down at the time.
He looks
And
really
what's
50.
even actually more impressive is that I've seen the movie like 15 times already, and I've never seen Uni.
Well, it's because
you
you're.
don't have to go
No,
take
It's
a
because you're
seat.
drunk. No one can take a drunk British's word.
Yeah,
No,
I
he
don't.
just-
The movie's drunk though.
He had a piss break to take.
He always takes a piss
This is
break at
fantastic.
118.
Cool. That shit, I'm just gonna drunk and
Oh,
hard.
so quick question.
I'm
The
putting that
difference-
picture in this, by the way. When I decide to, make this whole podcast and add pictures, I'm putting that picture in.
What picture?
The one of me and Captain America, you fuck.
Yeah, all pixelated of him.
Yeah.
Not even a clear fucking photo of him.
You know what? We give Uni shit, but he's the only one of us who's actually been in a Marvel movie.
Oh yeah, I think it's
Oh,
awesome as
yeah.
shit.
I don't care that you guys give me shit. I know it's out of good fun.
So quick question. Going back to Spider-Man a little bit. The difference between the rights going back and X-Men going back. Do people just accept that X-Men's not going back, or are people more okay if Fox kept the rights to X-Men more than they are?
Because the X-Men
Damn
movie
good
was doing
thing that
better.
Common is
But
not
you
here.
know, well, the thing that the X-Men have is Hugh Jackman. That kind of warrants movies, and I kind of want to see more movies of that. Even though the movies or the quality of the movies is just not what you would expect of an X-Men movie from Marvel Studios.
See,
I think they still have redeeming points, except for the new movie that they got like a fucking 12-year-old to play Cyclops. That
Oh,
hey, that's
Oh,
a
that's a
fantastic
shit.
segue,
who,
Josh.
who Kid Klops?
Yeah.
oh, that casting is
The
disgusting.
Storm isn't
But
bad.
still, the main reasons why I like Days of Future Past is because at the end of the movie they showed the original the X-Men, from the first movies, and I was kind of like, oh yeah, well the next movie is just gonna feature all those characters. No, fuck you.
Dude,
We're gonna cast a bunch of kids just to play the characters that you also love because you love the old movies. I don't know, fuck it.
How are you
Okay,
guys talking
it's
about
not
X-Men
ridiculous.
right now? Did we go on an X-Men tangent?
I
Yeah.
said that before in
Oh,
my
sorry.
conversation. I didn't mean to go.
If we
Okay.
no, it's fine. If we do, we might as well just go to the X-Men Apocalypse casting. It's
Yeah.
on
Before
our
we get into the
talking point.
casting, I do want to answer Spawn's question a little bit. The thing is, with the X-Men franchise, they've been successful enough that it's going to be hard to convince Fox they should give them back.
That's not happening.
And there's
way.
and there's really no
Uh,
arguing that they are good quality films, whether they are or not they are the X-Men that you want to see. The films in general are good quality. They are of
That's-
good quality.
And here's the difference too. We'll go over we'll compare the last three movies here. X-Men First Class was okay. The
Yeah.
Wolverine was really good,
Yeah.
except for the third act.
Yep.
Days of Future Past was alright. Now let's look at the Sony movies. Spider-Man 3, shit. Amazing Spider-Man 1, meh.
Absolute shit.
Amazing Spider-Man 2, meh.
Not meh, dude. Absolute shit for both of them, if you ask me.
Dude, I think all three of them are absolute shit.
The only,
The only
saving
good thing about
grace.
the Amazing Spider-Man movies are the poses and the visuals. The story is just not very good.
The Amazing Spider-Man 2 only has one saving grace, and that was the costume. Everything else is just nothing for me.
Yeah, but I kind of knew from the starting point that the only good thing I can at least take out of this movie was that the costume's gonna be fucking banging.
That's all I knew. I was hoping
like
for more.
the little kids, oh, look how awesome Spider-Man looks swinging through New York. Let's just forget about everything else. But look how awesome he looks.
Oh, come on, man. You can't deny the awesome Rhino fight.
Oh, come on, man.
It was great.
You can't say that wasn't cool. What are you talking about? What about Electro?
That was Optimus Rhino. You don't diss him.
Well, he does like the Transformers movies.
More like Paul Giamatti having an acting-gasm.
Oh my god, fucking horrible.
Yeah, it was.
Ugh.
Everything
Talking
about
over
it
the
was
top.
bad. Everything about it was just bad. So,
Especially
Right.
this.
and
Yeah,
and the X-Men movies, they're not bad, honestly. I mean, yeah, the Brett Ratner X-Men 3 is. We can all
I
agree.
find X-Men 3 actually quite enjoyable.
It's like a guilty pleasure film, like the
I really
like Tim Story
Beast
Fantastic
in
Four.
X-Men 3.
Yes. That's what I was gonna say.
The first shot of him
I
hanging
have to
upside
choose-
down is classic.
If I have to choose between X3 and Spider-Man 3, I'll choose X3 every time.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, definitely. I mean,
Oh,
it's like a guilty
They're
pleasure.
both,
You
they're,
still,
both, they're both shitty movies, but I'd much rather watch X-Men 3.
I would too
Unless
for
they're
Angel and Juggernaut and Beast. Yeah, for those reasons, I would much rather watch it.
Plus, Topher Grace was so bad was Eddie Brock with his terrible blonde hair, the
Yeah.
terrible dye job.
We're
We
not
don't
even
talk about that.
Yeah, we don't mention that. That is like the name that shall not be mentioned. It's like Voldemort around here.
He who shall not be mentioned.
But yeah, we can. Sorry, I got us off track there. We can probably go back to the Apocalypse casting thing.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I like the X-Men films. Sure, they're not given the costumes we want to see, and they're not the most comic accurate movies, but as I said, the movies themselves are generally of good quality, so at least they're enjoyable in that sense, you know? I mean, I can watch Spider-Man and just drive a fucking truck through the holes in that movie.
Here's the deal. I really like Oscar Isaac as an actor. I think he's fantastic.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
I'm just very worried that, like, we're going to get a watered-down, like, Apocalypse. Like, Apocalypse is a fucking powerful entity. I really hope we get to see that kind of skill set and not watered down.
I don't know, man. I think Singer's done a
the
good
thing
job
is-
with the villains.
The thing is, with Apocalypse, really, they haven't touched many of the X-Men villains yet.
No, they haven't. I mean, look at Singer's track record though. Magneto in the first one. I thought Magneto was fantastic. I love Magneto. I thought William Stryker was a great villain. Lady Deathstrike, yeah.
Her fight scene was pretty cool. Wolverine, though.
Be right back.
Yeah, it was a cool fight scene. Her character, I mean, you just can't go into the Weapon X mythology that deeply. So
But I mean,
Yeah.
I think the only villain they've really touched on was Magneto.
yeah, and he was great.
They really
And I
haven't
think
gotten any other
Apocalypse.
villain.
And,
Yeah.
and I think at this point, that besides the fact that Magneto is just assumed to be the best part of any movie, I mean, like, come on now, Fassbender's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, Fassbender's.
Magneto.
Yeah, he's a great actor. I mean, there's no denying that one.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, it's like, how many times can he just lift something large up in the movie? Like, he's done it 3 times, I think. He's done it in the San Francisco Bridge in X3, and he just did it to the baseball field in Days of Future Past.
That's
He
two
lifted
times.
really
the sub
hope we
first
make
class.
more.
Oh, and he forgot that he lifted the submarine in first class too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that
the
too, that too.
submarine.
Yes. the
Yeah,
submarine.
I enjoy it. I think Apocalypse, I mean, we are going to see things that are very comic accurate, and then other things will have liberties taken, you know? I mean, I don't know if we're going to see the mecha-looking version of Apocalypse, but I think the essence of the character will be there. He's not going to be unrecognizable, you know?
Yeah,
And-
I would agree.
And I'm going to say right now, I don't have a problem with the kid that was cast as Scott Summers. Now tear me a new one, go.
Depends
he
how
was fucking 12.
depends how he grows into the role. I would say this is a wait and see kind of casting.
I mean, I think that the Storm and Jean Grey castings are fine, and I don't have a problem with the Scott casting because, I mean, they were around 14 or 15 in the original comics. So if the kid looks around that age, I'm fine.
Yeah, I think the Jean Grey casting is really good. I love that chick on Game of Thrones, and
Yeah.
the Storm casting is really good too. I'm just really unsure of Cyclops because that's my hands down my favorite X-Men member.
I can't say much about the castings because I've seen approximately zero of anything those people are in.
How is Wolverine going to fit into this as far as the 1980s? Are they sending them back again? How's that going to happen?
They'll find a way.
They'll find a way.
You
Which I'm
believe
fine
it.
with. I love Hugh Jackman. Dude can be in every X-Men movie for all I care.
Well, I'm sorry, Apocalypse is coming out before the next Wolverine movie, right?
I think
I
so.
thought it came before.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's coming out before. Isn't that what you said,
No,
Joe?
no. Apocalypse is first. Yeah.
So that means we're not going to see Logan go off on another solo adventure until after this.
I would.
No.
So
If
let's
I'm being
rewind.
totally
Let's go
honest,
back. Let's go back to the end of Days of Future Past. Now we have that alternate time, right? He goes back to the mansion. Everybody's alive. Like,
I think that's the end of that timeline. They're going back to the First Class timeline, and they're going to keep the movies going from there.
Well, hopefully, we're going to see the rest of the cast, so do some cameos in the Wolverine movies, hopefully.
well, see, that's gonna be confusing as shit though because Hugh Jackman's gonna be in Apocalypse.
Yeah, but the thing
Oh,
is like he'll be.
that's why I asked that question. Is like, how is he going back to the? Or are they just gonna bump into him during, like, normal during that time period?
It'll probably
you know
be
what I'm
right
saying?
around the time he got his adamantium claws in the 80s. It'll probably be like right after X-Men Origins is supposed to take place. I mean, I want to completely disregard that movie altogether, but probably not long after that movie's supposed to take place.
Well, let's look at oh god, I forgot what I was gonna say. Well, we saw Mystique, right? Mystique was with Stryker on that
She
fucking
was
boat.
Striker.
She
Yeah,
was
she was,
Stryker.
yeah.
She was. I'm sorry. She was Stryker. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm just trying to piece together how this is like. What could
Okay,
Bryan
so
Singer be up to?
That brings up an interesting point. How is Wolverine gonna have adamantium claws again?
Well, Stryker's not dead, is he? He didn't die.
Well, yeah, but he never got to Wolverine.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they can work something out.
I'm pretty sure he didn't die. Last time we saw him.
Hold on a minute. Hold on a second. So, what year does Apocalypse or Days of Future Past take place?
And this is
In
in
the
1973, wasn't it?
No, it was in the 60s.
Yeah.
First Class? It's during the
No,
Cuban Missile
Apocalypse.
Crisis. It was in the 60s.
No.
No, First Class is Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah,
And Days of Future Past is the end of the Vietnam War.
right.
Yeah, so 70s.
So, okay, part of Origins would still be canon then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I want to disregard that
because
movie, but
Stryker would have already known Wolverine because
Right.
he recruited him during Vietnam.
right. Yeah.
God damn it, this is so fucking confusing.
Wait, so I don't think Stryker died because when
No, he didn't die. We know that.
I don't know when he's not dead. What I'm saying is,
He's not dead. It's just Mystique just pretended like she was William Stryker. That's all. At
Yeah.
that time, and they thought that it was Stryker, but it wasn't. So his
Maybe-
whereabouts at that point would be
Maybe
unknown.
after Stryker figures out that Wolverine survived that or whatever, he approaches him, and you never know. I mean, there could be tons of different
Right,
ways
because
to incorporate
once
that.
Logan goes back to the future, no pun intended, right? He's left, with his mind the way it was, like the way where he was at in his life at that time.
Yeah.
There could still be that deal, whatever deal that was made. I don't want to say again MXN Origins, but there'll be a way for Stryker to recruit Logan to want to get that procedure done.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember, future
Well,
Logan's
what I'm
consciousness.
getting at though is in the way they portray it in the movie, in Days of Future Past, Logan was never in Vietnam. Is what they're showing.
Or maybe he had already been deployed. Who knows? I don't know.
God, it's starting with
It's
my
so
head.
confusing. Like, I mean, especially like like the first time we see Mystique, like they have Havoc in there, like for like that's just like a throwaway scene just to put like X-Men in the movie, other
That's
X-Men.
just to get the cameo in there.
Yeah.
of course, same thing with Toad.
And I think to
Yeah.
partially kind of solidify what time period we were in, but I don't know. I'm not going to try and connect the dots on how all these movies are supposed to add up. I really don't think
Dude,
Fox had that foresight to be like,
You know what the X-Men movies are approaching now?
huh.
the confusing ass X-Men comic canon.
Hey,
Wow.
look, comic accuracy. Where's Common?
Bam.
All the old man wants to see is the original First Class. That's what he prides himself on.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm right there with Fran. I would love to see the original team.
Oh, I would too. I wish First Class would have been that, but it's not. So I gotta
The
just.
First Class should have been that.
I agree. I wanted to see Angel and Beast and. Well,
I think it's going to be cool the way to see how the young versions of them are actually, recruited by Xavier.
We'll see. We still don't know a lot. I mean, we know.
Yeah, there's a lot we don't. I mean, that's
Well,
really hard to. It's really hard to speculate on story. That's why we just kind of have the casting thing as the note.
Well,
I mean, that
well,
movie's almost a year and a half away.
Yeah.
it might not even be Xavier that recruits them because Wolverine was told to go recruit them.
Well, no. Xavier recruits him because there's that line in
Oh yeah,
in
okay.
his Future Past where he tells Xavier that who he needs to recruit for the
Yeah,
X-Men.
that was my mistake. I thought I got it mixed up. I thought it was Xavier telling Logan to recruit.
So basically, as far as the guessing game, I mean, we'll know when we're sitting our asses in the theater exactly like what's going to go down, how Singer's going to explain this shit.
Yeah.
But again, like it's been said before, like they're all great movies, especially X2. As far as Bryan Singer, I mean, even Days of Future Past, a really good movie. It's just not kind of the X-Men kind of thing that we're all expected, like Durf was saying earlier.
It's their own thing.
Yeah. I mean, they're good movies. They're just not the X-Men movies that we
Oh,
want. And it's because we've been partially because we've also been spoiled with the MCU now. Like it's so comic accurate, and it's like everything you want to see. The X-Men kind of just isn't living up to that, but they're still good movies.
I mean, I'll
That's-
say
that's
this: like, comic accuracy is going to be like what we make of it, because they're always changing. The comics are always changing. It's all about just capturing the essence of the characters and the story. Like things are going to change. Like the Marvel Universe, Cinematic Universe tweaks things. Fox's tweaks things. Like Warner Brothers tweaks things. As long as you can capture that essence, it's going to make everybody fall in love with it.
Agreed. What were you gonna say, Durf?
I was gonna say that I'll freely admit that that's the MCU is kind of making my judgment a little more harsh
Yeah.
because that's the kind of quality and comic accuracy we can get now. So I'm gonna judge things a little more harsh.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, the X-Men universe was established before the MCU, so I mean, they just can't up and make
Right.
such radical
I-
changes. So
I
I have to,
understand that.
I have to be lenient on my judgments with them. So
Well, if you think about it, like when the original X-Men movie came out, I was fucking excited as all hell for it because you're gone basically from just wanting to see these characters on screen at all.
Yeah.
But now we've grown to a point where now we've had these characters on screen. Now we want them done right,
yeah, and we're spoiled. I mean, I was 10 years old when the first X-Men came out, so I didn't give a shit what I got. I was like, there's Wolverine, there's Claws, there's Cyclops beaming shit with his eyes. I'm sold.
Yeah.
It looked
And
like
I
black
still
leather.
like the first two X-Men movies.
I love them. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't give them much crap because, we can go into the whole debate about how they've kicked off the modern superhero movie and stuff, but
They were a really big part. So was Spider-Man and Blade.
yeah. So we can go into that, but for overall, I don't
I was
hate
a
them.
senior in high school. It was awesome.
I don't hate them, but at the same time, I know what the MCU could probably do with them if they had them. So it's kind of a
It's
torn
not-
feeling.
I'll put it this way: X-Men Apocalypse can't possibly be worse than Origins.
All right, so what do you guys think of Civil War and Avengers 2? I mean, those two movies are probably going to bleed into each other a bit. I mean, I think Captain America 2 is going to be the biggest lead up out of Phase 2 into Avengers 2, and then Civil War is obviously going to play a huge part in what comes after Avengers 2. So, let's talk about that.
Fuck y'all, Team Cap.
Yep.
I just I'm with I don't know who said it on TDA, but they said that they liked the villain route a lot more interesting. I don't know who that
Me.
was. Yeah, it was Johnny. So that's the way I am. So I'm gonna be Team Stark on this whole thing.
Well, you know me, I'm Iron Man all the way. But here's the thing, when I read the Civil War storyline, I felt myself teetering back and forth between Team Cap and Team Stark with each issue, So it was really hard for me to really stand firmly on one side.
You know what? I could feel both sides of the issue until Tony Stark created a robot clone of Thor and had him kill somebody.
Well, yeah, when he killed Goliath, or Bill Foster, yeah, that definitely hurt.
Yeah, that instantly said, you know what, fuck Stark, it's all Cap.
Yeah, but you had to feel for Stark. I mean, like that one mother of one of the victims who like spit in his face after the conference.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you had to understand where fucking Stark was coming from with this registration stuff, you know. And what I think is so genius about the Civil War storyline is that it really is something that would happen today, because in today's day and age, we need a face to put with blame. You know, we need somewhere to be able to point our finger at and say that's the problem, that's the issue. And I think Civil War is really commentary on that, you know, because back in the 50s and 60s and all that, you know, sure we had stuff like that, but today, in today's day and age, in the digital age, like, we need to have someone to blame. If there's a problem, we need to find the root of the problem, find who caused it and who's to blame, and put them on trial, you know. And I think that's where Civil War really stems out of, and I think that's why it's such a brilliant storyline. And a lot of people hate that story, but I really don't know why.
I love Civil War. It's one of my favorites, and I agree. I agree with what you're saying. But I mean, as of I mean, the finger will be pointed at Tony more or less because of the Ultron scenario.
Well, not only that, but I mean, he is also in the very first Iron Man. He comes out at the very end. I am Iron Man. So there is no secret identity to him. So anything that does happen, that he is the problem, it all falls on Tony Stark's shoulders. You know.
Right.
Yeah,
Plus,
I mean-
everybody already knows that Steve Rogers is Captain America too.
Right.
Yeah, but he, you know, he has those old school ideals, and I think that's what makes him such a great character. But it's like, it also begs the question: do those ideals stand up in today's society? I mean, can you really be that idyllic in today's society?
I mean,
And that was a big part of what Winter Soldier was a commentary on.
Oh, I know, I fucking love that movie. Sorry, but
And
yeah, I mean,
Tom
I think
Stars.
it's gonna be. I think that it's gonna be along the same lines of Winter Soldier, where it is gonna be one of those movies that makes you think just a little bit, but you know, I think it's gonna be, you know, something where it's gonna make you decide stuff, you know, right from the beginning, like what side are you on? You know, that whole feeling is gonna be like present, you know, on who exactly.
Right, and the whole thing with Shield basically in disarray, you know, the government's gonna want to control the Avengers, you know, and the Avengers are a kind of group that you can't control. They have to be their own entity, you know.
You
Yeah.
know what could be really interesting about this version of Civil War, to be a nice twist? Shield might actually be on Cap's side this time.
I kind of hope not, because I love in the first issue when Maria Hill and all the Shield agents
Oh,
like,
yeah.
corner him, and he's got to
Yeah,
jump
me
out of the
too.
helicarrier. Man, I mean, I think when he jumped out of the elevator, the way he smashed through it in Cap 2, that was kind of an homage to him breaking out of the helicarrier
Oh yeah, definitely.
visually.
That movie was full of homages to different
Oh, I
comic
know.
movies.
They had so many great nods, but I mean, personally, I want to see that so bad. You know.
There's a lot of
I'm not saying. I'm saying because the way Shield's set up now in the MCU, that would kind of possibly happen.
Yeah.
Especially with Coulson being the one who's running Shield.
Yeah, but the thing is, Coulson. I mean, Shield now with Coulson's direction. I mean, they're still kind of this. They're more of an underground unit. I mean, they're not really government compliant anymore.
Right, they're in
You
the
know?
shadows.
So yeah, so Durf might be right. They may be on Cap's side, and hell, with Coulson being such a Cap fanboy, I don't see why he wouldn't be.
Yeah, does anyone think that characters will switch sides from where they were in the story arc? Like, do people think that Falcon will side with Tony this time, or?
Yeah.
I could totally see War Machine going with Cap.
I don't see
I
Rhodey.
can see it. I can see it because there might be a falling out.
Rhodey, yes, because Rhodey's government, but Falcon, he's out and he's pro Cap. He's gonna go wherever Cap goes.
Yeah.
I think
I think Rhodey stays on Tony's side.
I think Thor goes with Cap.
Yeah,
I
me
would-
too.
I don't think
I think Thor's not going to be a factor.
Oh, you might be right, but Banner is definitely with Iron Man. But I think in order to have a successful Civil War movie, you have to present both sides and really make the audience not hate either one of the sides. Like, understand both of them, you know? Neither side is the villain. And I think that's the only way to really make this a successful story.
You
Is
see,
it-
that's one of the problems that I find with the movie, and it's one of my main concerns as well. Because I would like to have Captain America Civil War and Iron Man Civil War. I think it's too much to have in just one movie. but it's just my opinion.
I would love to see an Iron Man version.
I
of
think
Civil
it
War.
deserves to like be split in two.
You know, if I have confidence in anyone to be able to present both sides, it would be the Russos and Marcus and McFeely, the guys who wrote the first two Cat movies.
Yeah, I agree. With Joss Whedon as a consultant.
Yeah, you know what, those were the guys I would have confidence in being able to do it, present both sides.
Yeah, I mean, hell, Cap was what, a 2-hour and 15-minute film?
And they packed a lot into that.
They did. I think you
Isn't
could
there
do it.
still one mystery Marvel movie out there? Isn't there still one that they're like?
That's the rumor, but it hasn't been confirmed.
And if there is, I'm really hoping it is Iron Man, not Iron Man 4, but Iron Man Civil War.
No,
Because when Marvel announced their slate, that pretty much filled all the slots that were previously announced.
Yeah. So I really don't know how that's gonna go.
during the whole Civil War event per se, I really liked the whole thing what they did with the human side of everything. Not just the superheroes, but like the average day families and civilians. I mean, look at the Human Torch. I mean, guy got the shit kicked out of him by the human stuff. Anything I want to happen in Civil War, it's just basic people coming in to help. Was one thing I really liked about even the Spider-Man movies, that even the New Yorkers helped out a lot in the films. With,
That's how we roll.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my whole thing with Civil War. I just really loved how they input like every single person in the whole story. Like everyone was affected by the end of it. I mean, fucking people died left and right, and it was innocent people too. Like Nitro blew up innocent people.
Oh yeah, the incident at Stanford that ignited the whole registration debate.
Yeah. Do you think that will be included too?
I don't think. No, I don't think.
No, because that whole thing was based around the fucking reality show, The New Warriors, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think what's going to happen is something's going to happen with Ultron. He's going to do
Exactly.
something that's going to get out that it's caused by the Avengers.
Exactly. And then,
Remember, Josh said that a while back that Age of Ultron's not going to end on a happy note. Like, there's going to be disarray at the end of this movie.
it's gonna be like Empire Strikes Back. You know, the second movie, which really lends itself to a third one. So I think that's what it's gonna be. But I think Durf is completely on point there. I think
Right, because whatever, like you guys said before, whatever happens in Age of Ultron will spill over into Civil War.
Right,
because the next Avengers film will be Infinity War.
Yeah,
So
and you can tell by Age of Ultron that they've been really hinting hard that Civil War is going to happen. I mean, look at Ultron's whole line in the trailer where he's talking about he'll destroy everyone from the inside.
Yeah, and other than
that's-
Ant-Man, isn't Captain America 3 basically the next big Marvel film other than Ant-Man to follow Age of Ultron?
Yeah.
well, it's Ant-Man, then Cap, then Strange.
Yeah, so other than Ant-Man, Civil War is the next big follow-up to Age of Ultron. It'll basically be the
follow up.
yeah, it'll be basically like a quasi sequel to Age of Ultron and dealing with everything that
The aftermath.
yeah, exactly. And so I think Stark is going to feel, because he created Ultron maybe with Banner, or he's the reason Ultron is even in existence now, falls on him, so he feels responsible, and that will probably start to be like, well, you know what, we need to start being more accountable, we need to register, or, whatever. But, you know what, there could be a flip side to that. It could be Cap thinking that they need to register, they need to be held accountable, because in a way, that's kind of an old-fashioned notion, right?
I just can't wait to see the Vision rip shit up.
I mean, the way they had Cap go about things in Winter Soldier, I don't see that being the case, because the way he described it was, this is fear, not freedom. The way Shield was running things, and that kind of would, for me, tie into registration.
Think so? Because
I can't see Cap being for whatever government institute, whatever is going to be instituted by the government. I don't think Cap will be on board of it because of his old school ideals.
I mean, I understand that he was jaded by S.H.I.E.L.D., but also what you got to think about is S.H.I.E.L.D. is like this faceless organization, right? And they're doing all these things without everyone else's consent, so maybe he thinks there needs to be a face. There needs to be someone to be held accountable. I mean, I'm just saying there were rumors that basically Stark and Cap were flip-flopped on the issues.
Yeah,
And you could
see that happening.
And you could make a case for either side of Cap being for pro or anti-registration, judging by the MCU right now.
Yeah, I think it all really just falls on what exactly ignites this registration act, even if they even have a registration act, if that is even part of the story. I mean, it's going to have to be loosely based on the Civil
Well-
War story because there really aren't secret identities in
Well, it's a
MCU.
template. It's like, the storyline, the comic book storyline is a template, with the mixtures of whatever changes and twists they're going to throw in there.
Right.
The way it was described around the time Marvel had their big announcement of the film slate was that this version of Civil War is not going to be so much about secret identities as it is holding the superheroes accountable.
Right. Yeah. Then that makes sense. And does the public even view these guys as superheroes, especially after the events of Age of Ultron?
Remember, after Avengers 1, they were questioning them. Like, oh,
Well,
and then, after this, it's like Age of Ultron is the tipping point. It's like, okay, now we had the alien invasion, we had Ultron, something's got to get done. Like, that's basically what's going to happen.
See, the alien invasion wasn't their fault, but Age of Ultron is a direct product of the Avengers.
It's Stark, really.
Well,
That's the way
but
to
I mean,
look at it.
if you take Whedon seriously or at his word, he says that all of them had a hand in making Ultron. Which I think is a little clue as to the Civil War thing. Like they were all responsible in some way or another. So now they need to be held responsible for their actions.
Because, listen, the beginning of the movie, or whenever this happens, when they take down Von Strucker, the beginning is going to show the Avengers as a team in full glory. And then how Ultron ultimately rips them apart.
I'm not even confident we'll see Strucker much. I don't know if he'll be much of a factor in Age of Ultron.
Well,
in the
they said
beginning,
at the very least he's in the beginning.
Yeah, but I think he might come into play heavily more leading up to Inhumans than anything else. That's just me.
Well, I mean, again, that's a possibility, but I just really think that Whedon, before he breaks them and before it goes into Civil War, he's just going to show them in full-fledged glory. Like, they're a team, they fought a big threat together, they're on a high, and then boom, they fuck up.
I think after Age of Ultron, public opinion will definitely sway against the Avengers for sure. And in order to save face, this registration act or whatever it ends up being is a way to save face.
Right.
Because it's even been built from the first Avengers. I mean, the Council didn't even like the fact that the Avengers were happening.
Yeah, but they were also about to bomb Manhattan, so fuck
Well,
those
the
guys.
council was Hydra, so I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
yeah,
true.
good call. Good call. Their voice keeps us fucking straight, man. I'll tell you what.
Yeah. I know, he knows the little details. So if anyone
He just remembers that shit, like things that slip my mind. But fucking hey, guys, what do we think of Avengers 2? I mean, it's close. I mean, it is almost the end of January. It's coming out, May 1st, right? Or May.
Dude, I can sense that movie. Like, its presence is fucking being felt. It's gonna be so fucking amazing when that movie comes out.
I will give their marketing team credit. I know far less about this one than I did the first Avengers movie at this time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
Oh,
even the
yeah.
first Avengers, the trailers didn't even scratch the surface of what the movie was
Right.
about.
But we knew
Right.
so
For
many
spoiling the whole-
spoilers. Sorry, go ahead, Josh.
It's spoiling the Hulk at the end of the movie, catching Iron Man. That was kind of fucked up.
So,
Yeah, they did kind of spoil that. That was unfortunate.
That's why I don't watch the trailers anymore. I just watch the first trailer, the teaser trailer, and then I just don't watch anything.
So-
I just try to go blind into the movie. I just don't.
so out of
thing.
everything in the whole film, what is like the one thing most people here are excited about? I mean, I know mine. Definitely, it's good. It's close.
Hulkbuster!
Yeah.
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 Hulkbuster.
Mine's
Yeah,
really
Hulkbuster.
close. I'm just gonna have to say the entirety of Ultron. Like, we finally get a villain besides Loki in the MCU that's capable of fucking these heroes up.
Yeah, dude. And I gotta say, I mean, I know Joe's with me on this. The one thing I'm looking forward to most is seeing Hulkbuster in all its glory. But at the same time, that conversation we get a glimpse of Steve and Tony at the farmhouse. I think
Right.
that's gonna be cinematic gold, man. I mean that is gonna be an exchange between my two favorite characters that I know I'm gonna geek out the entire time.
I think Hawkeye's gonna be really fucking cool here too. I think they're finally gonna redeem themselves from how he was portrayed in the first movie. Like, I think he's gonna be huge.
we're gonna get the Hawkeye that Jeremy Renner signed up for.
Yeah.
That's what he wanted, and they made him a pawn in the first film. Also, I'd like to two aspects I'm really interested in is obviously his whereabouts throughout all this with S.H.I.E.L.D., and I really can't wait to see the whole Ulysses Claw factor. with the vibranium. With Ultron trying to get his hands on that and that aspect of it as well.
I was gonna say this. I think Hawkeye is the whole reason that the Avengers know about Von Strucker. I think he will be the whole key behind that.
Maybe he was working for Fury on that specific case.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking. That he had always been knowing about that Hydra had been split and had several organizations, but this one's really important because they had Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch.
Or maybe it was just that Fury had the whim that something was going on, and he made Barton his point man, as far as finding out, and like going overseas to see what S.H.I.E.L.D. was doing, overseas in that aspect of it.
I think Strucker is basically going to be the equivalent of Red Skull. Like in the first Captain America movie, Zola and Skull are talking about Hitler and the Third Reich and
like the modern Hydra.
But like Skull's like, my vision goes much further than Hitler's. Well, same thing with Strucker. Strucker's like, my vision goes much further than Skull's Hydra. Like I've got my hands and rooted in lots of other shit too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he's dealt with pretty quickly. I wouldn't even be surprised if they killed him off in this film.
No, he signed a multi-picture deal.
They're not killing him off.
They're not going to kill Von Strucker.
I do want to go back to what...
Get away, or they're going to lock him up.
I want to go back to what Spawn was saying about Hawkeye. Like, when I first read the Age of Ultron comic books, the very first issue was pretty Hawkeye heavy, right? And I thought, here's where they'll be taking their notes from for Hawkeye. The rest of the series was absolute shit, really. But I think we might be seeing some Age of Ultron comic stuff in the movie in the way of Hawkeye.
I mean, that's fair to say, but didn't Whedon say that it was just strictly the title is what
It has to be. It can't be as horrible as book.
Sorry, hold on. Hold on, let me delegate this real quick. Patrick first go, then Durf, you go.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think it's going to be entitled. I mean, yes, you are going to see more of Barton, but that's only because Barton was out there, Renner was out there saying, I don't want to be the same character that I played in the first one. They updated his costume. He looks more like Hawkeye now. You're going to see more of his skills. He's not going to be just some pawn. And yes, there's no way that they're going to take, too much from that freaking storyline in comics because it was one of the worst I've ever read.
Yeah.
They could only do better with this movie. That storyline, it was just complete. I mean, the first, 1 or 2 issues was good.
Yeah, it started off promising.
And then shit.
They're really going to go for presenting the identity and who Clint Barton is. You're going to that. I think that's more or less the importance of Hawkeye in the film because we didn't get the real Clint Barton in the first film.
Right. Yeah, Durf, what were you going to say?
Well, Patrick pretty much said what I was going to say, so.
Oh, okay.
He covered it. We're good.
Yeah, I just hope if anything they just have more Hawkeye. I mean, honestly, that was probably that was the characters kind of looking forward to because we know about Iron Man, we know about Cap, we know about Hulk mostly, we know about almost every member, but Hawkeye was kind of the guy that got introduced and thrown right into the action in the whole film, and he got the shit end of the stick here.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to say from Age of Ultron, the comics. I think we're going to see the spirit of Hawkeye. At least, I think there will be a nod to that first issue with Hawkeye in it in the movie. Somewhere. I think they will be taking notes. There will be a nod somewhere from Age of Ultron, at least in Hawkeye's part.
How are we going to see Vision come about?
Dude, that's...
I would
damn,
say
I don't
fairly
know.
early.
I don't know if it'll be early,
I don't think we're going to see Vision until at least after the second encounter with either the upgrade or the second version of Ultron.
Here's what I was thinking Vision was supposed to be. I'm thinking maybe Vision is supposed to be Ultron's upgraded version, but somehow Jarvis's AI in some way kind of inhabits that specific model and fights off Ultron. You know what I mean? Like maybe Ultron was supposed to be Vision, but the AI was overwritten with Jarvis, kind of thing.
Well, here's where I look at the Vision thing. Maybe Ultron co-ops or corrupts Jarvis to become Vision, and that's what he's going to use to quote unquote tear the Avengers apart from the inside.
Yeah, maybe.
But then it's going to be the fact that the relationship between Jarvis and Tony, which is going to ultimately make him turn back you know,
Yeah.
to the light, if you will. You know what
That's
I mean?
what I could see happening with Vision.
I was just thinking that this was going to be a deal where, because Ultron is taking control of so many of the Stark armors in the film, you can see that he takes control, like 50 of them in the trailer.
Right.
That there's not really a Jarvis to be had, so he just goes into the closest thing he can find, and he ends up helping the Avengers.
I mean, it just seems like from what we've heard and what we've seen that like the vibranium plays such a big role. Like Ultron has to have it. You know.
You think
Well,
so?
that's
You think?
like-
I mean, I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, do you really think
I'm
so?
just saying from what I'm. That's just from what I'm taking. It just seems like that the vibranium seems like such a strong component. Like as far as Ultron's methods.
Well, I mean, they wouldn't throw Claw in there and not deal with vibranium.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true. Yeah.
Right. Agreed.
Maybe Ultron's final version is made of vibranium, but I mean, who makes it?
Maybe Claw.
You got to remember too. Here's another hint. Like Josh had said, you know, there's a Team Ultron aspect. Like we know Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver will start off on Team Ultron. Will that tie into Von Strucker? Vision, Team Ultron, and Claw, Team Ultron, and then you have the Avengers on the other side. So there's obviously deals and cahoots everywhere.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah.
How do you sway Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver to helping the Avengers? I mean, what has to take place in order
Well,
for them to?
the rumor was this: like, there's one country in the movie that's a fictitious country that doesn't exist. It's just a made-up country, and supposedly Ultron destroys the whole country, and like that's where Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver turn around and be like, "This is getting a little bit too deep for us."
Yeah.
That's just what I read. You know, again, it could be false, it could be whatever, but it's plausible.
Wait a minute. Hold on. That brings something else up. Maybe that's the stand-in for the Stanford incident or Samford incident. Stanford.
Stam with an M.
Stanford, Connecticut. Yeah. So the incident being instead of that, it's this fictitious country that just gets blown to bits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that being the case.
How do you guys think that Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch get their powers? I mean, do you think it's Loki's staff? I mean, Strucker obviously made them somehow, but do you think they were born with some kind of ability to unlock powers, kind of the way Sky is?
So is this
Quake
going into
or-
is this going into them being Inhumans deal?
Well,
I
they
mean,
can't be.
that's the biggest. I think that's the biggest consensus right now.
Well, they can't be the M word. Can you
Well,
say?
no, they can't be mutants, of course, but
They're miracles.
yeah, that's the M word. But how do you guys think that they're kind of like Sky in the sense that they had this, you know, bloodline basically that had the ability to unlock these latent powers, or do you think they were just basically experiments and given powers by Strucker and Loki's staff? I mean, I don't know.
Here's interesting. Remember in the credit scene, they talked about all the other subjects dying, and they didn't die. So obviously they had something inside of them that didn't kill them
Kind of like
during
the obelisk was
experiments.
the obelisk in the way it was.
Like
you know,
Terrigen crystals?
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe he's got his hands on some.
Good job,
Here's-
Patrick.
Here's my sort of crazy theory. They're Inhumans, and the way they're going to do Inhumans is, yeah, the Terrigen crystals or mist are the main way of unlocking the power,
Mm-hmm.
but exposure to something like a Infinity Stone can unlock
Exactly.
the power.
Good
Oh
thinking, sir.
shit, dude.
That's
Yeah.
great thinking, bro.
That's not a crazy theory. That seems completely plausible.
Yeah.
Yep. Indeed, it is.
So you think that the Terrigen mist and the crystals are maybe like derived of the same energy as the Infinity Gems?
They
Could be because the mind control stone or whatever was connected to the Tesseract. So again, it's all kindred, meaning that they're all connected, like they all feed off each other.
Yeah, I mean that
Yeah.
seems plausible as shit.
Well, if you think about what the Inhumans are and their relationship with Ancient Kree, might the Ancient Kree have experimented with the Infinity Stones a little bit?
That and and you know what? It's maybe they came to Earth and experimented on Earth. I mean, maybe that's why the Ravagers were sent to get Peter Quill. You know what I mean? Maybe that's why he could hold an
Well,
Infinity Stone
the Ravagers went to see Quill on
account of his dad telling them to.
Right, correct. But obviously, like, whoever Peter Quill's father is knew something was going down and knew that he had to get Peter off of Earth.
Right, I think that's all connected somehow with the Infinity Stones and the Inhumans. I mean, I think that's all connected in some crazy way.
That would be pretty awesome if they did use the Inhumans to connect to Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, You do kind of have to have a way to connect Guardians
Well,
to
you
the
got to
Avengers.
remember, right? We got Guardians 2,
Yeah.
Captain Marvel, and Inhumans. That's going to break out the cosmic. And I'm sorry, and the biggest one, which would be Thor Ragnarok,
Ooh.
to where that's going to be what they said is going to be the game changer, the way Cap 2 was.
Yeah.
It's essentially going to be the Winter Soldier of Phase 3.
Yeah.
Right. So those 4 films are going to expand the entire cosmic universe. So at some point, I mean, it would be plausible for the Guardians to bump into the Inhumans somewhere. I mean, not to mention now that we've already established the Kree, and then the deviant from the Kree being Ronin. Where does Marvel fit into all this?
I honestly think Marvel is going to be completely skimmed over. I really
No
do.
way. You can't have Carol Danvers becoming Captain
I-
Marvel.
As much as I'd love to see Marvel, I just get that sinking feeling they're not going to even.
Yeah,
I-
I think the same thing. I think it's a travesty if they do skip over him.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, they're
don't
just
want
going
to
to find an excuse like saying, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch aren't mutants.
Yeah. I mean, the fanboy in me wants to say we'll see Marvel for sure, but realistically speaking, I don't think you're going to have a Captain Marvel with Carol Danvers, and we're going to see Marvel first. If anything, like I think I said in a thread not too long ago, I think if we do see Marvel, it'll be the equivalent to like Abin Sur in Green Lantern.
Yeah.
But again,
Hopefully not as terrible.
again, though, the connection has to be made. Like, she can't just become Captain Marvel by fucking snapping her fingers, you
Well,
know?
all she's got to do is come into contact with Kree, to be honest. It doesn't really need to be Captain Marvel.
I know, I just don't want to believe that.
Oh, here's the question, though. Do you think through Carol Danvers we will get a look at Sword, the organization?
It's a possibility. It's not far-fetched, that's for sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if they completely skipped over Sword, just like you were kind of assuming with
I wouldn't
Marvel.
either, but I mean, it's basically the cosmic version of S.H.I.E.L.D., for the Earth anyway. It's like the space version of S.H.I.E.L.D.
See,
Yeah, but that really doesn't exist yet because all we really know is that, hey, the Chitauri came here and that's it. We don't really know.
Depending on what happens in Infinity War Part 1, maybe, because that would be 2 possible alien invasions. So maybe you could see
Yeah.
that.
Plus, you also have to think about that there really is no one really to protect the cosmic universe now that the Nova Corps.
I mean, maybe
destroyed.
Sword is put in place because of the Chitauri invasion,
I mean, I also think that, along with Thanos getting the orb off of Xandar, maybe that's when we'll see the destruction of Xandar.
I hope.
Wow, more destroyed than when it was in Guardians.
Yeah, I don't want to see Xandar destroyed unless
No.
it's only to make way for
Nova?
Rider Nova. Yeah,
Nova.
the last.
I mean, I would
one.
love to see Xandar go up like Alderaan style. That would be pretty fucking sweet. But I mean, they'd have to, again, he has to get his hands on the orb, which is locked away in their files.
Yeah.
So I mean, is it going to be like? It's not going to be something. Remember, if you're Thanos, right? You're thinking right now, okay, I failed twice already. Loki failed me. Ronan failed me. I got to do this shit on my own now because he can't risk it anymore. Like he's failed twice already.
That's
Now
all-
now it's ultimately they have to show him start to win.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Thanos is gonna have to take shit into his own hands.
Yeah.
But that's a different topic altogether.
Yeah. So, with all of that going on, where do people think that Warlock comes in?
You know what? I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and I still can't derive a fucking answer. All I know is that I hope it happens at some point. I can't think of when and how. I don't know.
I think there's 2 possible spots. Well, 3 possible spots, actually. Thor Ragnarok, Guardians 2, or Infinity War Part 1.
See, that's what I think I said this not too long ago.
Do you
either.
think he's already inside, like in the Soul Stone, or is he in the cocoon? Like,
Well, the
it's
cocoon was missing by the end of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
He was already.
in.
I would hope. If
yeah,
they
didn't Gunn confirm that?
No.
Yes.
He wouldn't confirm that it was Warlock's cocoon.
Yeah, but he would.
But-
He said it was
Just
gone.
wasn't there. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I would hope that if he does come into play, he does start out as Magus.
No, see, that's my thing. Like, I don't think we're gonna see Magus as being the bad guy. We're
No.
gonna see Warlock as the bad guy.
Yep.
And
Well,
that's
okay, well, there you go. Maybe that's
Warlock
your
as the bad guy, or Warlock as an anti-hero that'll ultimately side.
Warlock as the bad guy, as in Thanos has to go up against Warlock with the Avengers and the Guardians of the Galaxy.
When is that happening?
Well, no, we're talking Infinity Wars.
Oh, nice.
So,
It could be interesting too. Maybe Warlock starts out as the villain in Guardians too.
that's true.
Maybe
That's true.
something's fucking with him, like the Soul Stone or something.
And you know we're going to have to get the
Remember,
answer to
there's
who
two
Star-Lord's
stones that
father
are
is.
out there: the Time Stone and the Soul Stone. Everything else is pretty much accounted for and known about to us, anyway.
And by Guardians 2, we're going to have to get an idea of who Star-Lord's father is. So that might tie in somehow to Adam Warlock. Oh shit,
makes
guys.
sense.
Oh shit, Adam Warlock is Star-Lord's father. Oh shit.
I would be perfectly fine with Adam Warlock being Star-Lord's father. It's just that, I mean, again, he was able to survive touching the orb, but the thing is that Warlock is so powerful, it would make Peter somewhat powerful, which maybe it's something he hasn't unlocked yet, I guess, within himself. I don't know.
Has anyone ever seen
the
a Star...
description that his mother said of his
Yeah.
father, that he glowed like an angel.
And that he was made composed of pure light. Has anyone ever heard that description regarding Adam Warlock ever?
I haven't.
I think he's made an entrance in that type of form before.
Yeah, like as far as being a bright figure, you know? I mean, again, they'd have to do a little bit of I don't know. It's just, oh god, it's hard for me. It's just so tough to judge, man. Like, they could do anything at this point.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't that be crazy if we just unlocked it though? Adam Warlock is Star-Lord's father.
I'd be cool with that.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. I'm good
That
with
theory's been going around a lot, though.
Has it really?
Yeah, that and the fact that Thanos could be his father, too.
Nah,
Oh,
Thanos
no.
is definitely
No,
not his
I don't
father.
see Thanos,
Yeah.
but I really think they're gonna skip over the whole Jay's son thing.
Yeah, they definitely are. That's not going to make an appearance.
Yeah. And, I mean, even Gunn said that the fact that Star-Lord's father won't be a main plot point of Guardians of the Galaxy, too.
Does
Yeah.
anybody else have anything else they want to say in the way of like Civil War or Captain America 3? I mean, Avengers 2, my bad.
Bro, I thought we all got some good-ass theories out.
Yeah, I think I said
Okay.
all I can say about it, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
I can't
That's it.
fucking wait.
That's it.
Fucking ecstatic for DC Cinematic Universe.
Avengers, assemble!
That's what I'm going to say.
That was awesome. All right, guys. Well, I think that's gonna be it for our podcast. From everything Marvel and a little bit of DC. Sorry, it's been probably over a year since our last post, but we're gonna try and get better about it. Everyone want to say a little shout out or goodbye? Sign
Yeah, I'm really excited for the Suicide Squad. I don't know why, but I really am excited for this fucking movie.
I
See,
thought that
Joe's
was
got
sar-
my back.
I thought that was sarcastic. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
I
lie.
did too.
No, I'm serious. I'm really
Ah.
excited for this movie.
Yeah, we were texting about that.
I'm
shit,
not.
Too. Me and Joe
Dude,
were
that's
like,
fucking Spawn. We've been texting like every week about this shit.
I don't know about excited, but intrigued.
Dude,
Yeah.
the one time I start giving DC some props, you guys aren't even letting me.
It's got my interest. I'll say that.
I let 53. I let him into the DC club a little bit with this one.
It's got my interest. I'll say that.
Listen, I'm on board with it. I'm on board with Batman vs Superman. I'm ready to rock with this thing. Just don't let me down. That's all.
Yeah.
No problem, man. Thanks for listening, guys. You take care. Everyone, want to say goodbye?
I want to throw some shout outs to Ghost and Franny, who couldn't be here. Justice turned down the TV.
Anybody else?
Michael Rogers needs to get involved in these things.
SRS. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Tune in for the next one. Take care.